The always beautiful Pasadena, California for Big Ten football. UCLA is revitalized. Winners of back-to-back after starting 0-4. They host a Maryland team who began the year 4-0, but trying to respond after back-to-back losses. Hello, everyone. We welcome you to the Rose Bowl. Former Ohio State running back Robert Smith and Noah Reed with you. UCLA was 0-4, but a coaching change led to 2 straight wins. Maryland, meanwhile, they started 4-0, but it's been kind of the opposite. Back-to-back fourth-quarter losses. So this is the kind of game, Robert, that can change the trajectory of your season.
Yeah, no question about it. I'm sure Maryland, they're sitting back, like so many of us, looking at this UCLA story, and they're saying, hey, Cinderella, it's been a great story, but we're going to be that clock that strikes midnight for you. And it's not just that they lost those games, it's the way that they lost them. They were up 20-0 against Washington a couple of weeks ago, and then against Nebraska held the lead in the fourth quarter as well.
Well, trying to turn around this program for UCLA, they've got a quarterback who's experienced a lot of winning in Nico Iamaleava. Led Tennessee to the playoff last season, and they think they've got their guy here.
Yeah, they certainly do. And speaking of leading, he's led the team in carries 4 of 6 games this year, but only 1 out of the last 2. Make no doubt about it, Jerry Neuheisel, the new play caller, does not want him always leading this team in rushing, but when he does run, so dangerous, so good with his stride control for a guy that's 6'6", and of course he can throw it all over the yard.
8 total touchdowns, 0 interceptions in the last 2 weeks. Both of those wins for UCLA. Now, on the flip side for Maryland, they've got themselves a great quarterback too, but he's really young. A 19-year-old true freshman, Malik Washington, who's been spectacular.
I mean, this kid was at prom 6 months ago. And you know what? His tux was probably wrinkled because they said he's that kind of guy. You know, he'll stuff his suit into his suitcase. He'll be out there wearing Crocs. But just the kind of guy, cool as the other side of the pillow, and they're starting to get a little bit more out of his legs. We'll see how that game translates on the road today.
They are trying to right the ship on the road today. It's UCLA and it's Maryland with kickoff coming up just around the corner right here on FS1. Another picture-perfect day in Pasadena at the Rose Bowl. 83 degrees here at 4 p.m. local, just ahead of kickoff between UCLA and Maryland. Tim Skipper, year 1, game number 4 as the interim head coach, a role that he held last year as well at Fresno State. So he's done it in back-to-back seasons, talked about how much that really helped him be able to do it this year. And on the other side, it's Michael Locksley, 7th full season as the head coach of Maryland. Got out to a great start, Robert, but they're trying to figure things out after a couple losses.
Yeah, they certainly are. And it's the way that they've lost those games, as I mentioned in the open, that was really so disappointing because against Washington, they were up 20-0 a couple of weeks ago, and then against Nebraska last week held the lead into the fourth quarter, but just weren't able to close. And of course, you have a lot of things that you can correct out of those kind of games, but Mike Locksley was really concerned about the way that they tackled. And that's not the problem that you want to have going against a quarterback like Nico Iamaleava.
Two straight wins for UCLA after an 0-4 start and a coaching change. The exact opposite for Maryland. They opened 4-0, but 2 consecutive losses, both of which games that they led in the fourth quarter. Trying to turn it around today. Phillip Noyes to boot it away. And this is Titus Mokiao-Atimalala on the return. He's across the 20, makes a cut to the outside, a stiff arm of the defender, and he is ushered out of bounds near the 40 for fantastic starting field position. A UCLA team that started 0-4, but 2 consecutive wins, and a large reason why, Robert, is the play of Nico Iamaleava.
Yeah, the play of Nico Iamaleava, but I think also the play calling of Jerry Neuheisel. Of course, he's been around here for about 4.5 years, coaching the wide receivers in the tight ends. But really, this offense has looked much different with Jerry Neuheisel calling the plays. And I think the run game, which is something they want to be a point of emphasis, is going to have to be big today.
They've run it really well in the 2 wins, averaging 40 points per game the last 2 weeks. It's Iamaleava who zips it out to the sideline, and it's pulled in by Rico Flores for 5 yards.
Boy, you know, it's interesting watching Nico Iamaleava. You know, last week in the game against Michigan State, started 3 for 8 in that game, and what you could see on that throw right there, he's quintessential California guy, right? Like, he seems almost too relaxed at the beginning of games, and I think he just gets a little bit lax with those early throws.
He wants to throw it again, swings it out to his running back, Jalen Berger, who is pummeled. Daniel Wingate, top 5 tackler in the Big Ten with a punishing hit.
Well, Ted Monachino, the defensive coordinator, he's talked about Wingate. You can see him trigger. He talked about what an emotional leader he is. He's a physical leader as well. Leads the team in tackles, 56 on the season.
Called him cerebral, really smart player defensively. As the Terps defense tries to get off the field on a 3-and-out to start the day at the Rose Bowl. Iamaleava under pressure, uses the legs. He just gets back to the line of scrimmage, and that's it as Trey Reddick tracks him down to bring up 4th down.
Well, Ted Monachino, the defensive coordinator for Maryland, he talked about the difficulty of playing against a quarterback like Nico Iamaleava because you can't play the man underneath in a lot of situations because you need to have eyes back on him. But a very disciplined rush, can't get too far past him, always have to account for his legs.
That defense does a great job, forces a 3-and-out. Will Carroll to punt it away. Oh, they got back to him, but he just got it off in time. And it's touched up inside the 10 after a 47-yard punt from Will Carroll. A Maryland team that has lost back-to-back games with 4th-quarter leads, but Malik Washington, a true freshman, a 19-year-old Robert who might be one of, if not the favorite, to win Big Ten Freshman of the Year.
Yeah, no question about it. And we talked about just what a cool customer he is. Just a different kind of guy. And, of course, Mike Loxley, he's known about him since the 8th grade. And Pep Hamilton, whose son is also on the roster, was a part of that team as well. Just a lot of fun to watch. This guy never gets rattled.
A Maryland kid who decided to stay home, rolls out on 1st down, slings it out to his running back Nolan Ray, but it was behind him and an incomplete pass to start the day. But there is a flag thrown at the end of the play that we'll have to check on.
Pass interference, offense number 5. Half the distance to the goal from the previous 5. 1st down. That penalty has been declined. It is 2nd down.
Tim Skipper said we'll take the incomplete pass, make it 2nd down instead of accepting the penalty.
And this has really been a problem for this Maryland team. A lot of the penalties, of course, that one wasn't accepted. But you know Mike Loxley doesn't like to see that early.
Nolan Ray with the carry, patient run in the backfield, and he got drilled backwards by Jacob Busick.
Well, you can see John Vaughns as well, the linebacker, getting some penetration on that play. And, you know, Kevin Coyle, the new defensive coordinator, had come over from Syracuse. He talked about how difficult the decision that was for him, but he just has these guys playing with a lot of fire. We'll talk about kind of how he's put in a new system, entirely different verbiage. But number one, guys just want to play hard.
3rd down, snaps it to the far sideline, it's knocked away. Great coverage by Roderick Pleasant, who's been phenomenal in man-to-man coverage this season to bring up 4th down.
Yeah, they talk about how he's been physical. They talk about how he's the fastest guy on the team and almost comes up with the interception on that one. Shalik Knotts has to play a little bit of defense to knock that ball away from Pleasant.
So both offenses open this game with a 3-and-out. The defense is phenomenal to begin. Bryce McPherson standing inside his own end zone to punt it away. Mikey Matthews lets it bounce. And it does take a really nice Maryland hop and roll down to the 30. It is a 59-yard punt. Scoreless, couple 3-and-outs early here from Pasadena. Jerry Neuheisel has taken over play calling duties at UCLA, and he is a UCLA guy through and through. Before he was the acting OC, things were a disaster, quite frankly. But the last 2 weeks, UCLA's offense averaging 40 points per game with him calling plays.
Yeah, and you look at the third downs. They were 31% third downs in those first 4 games, those 4 losses, and they've been 45% third down the last 2 weeks, and much of that is because of an improved running game, being much more efficient, staying on schedule first and second down, and not putting yourself in third and obvious passing situations.
Iamaleava keeps it, fires against his body downfield. I know that's incomplete, but that was a difficult pass to make, and he put it close to where he needed it to be.
Oh, man, so close and so effortless. And the great ones make it look easy. You know, even rolling to his left, just watch the way the ball pops out of his hands so quickly and so easily. Just a little bit too long. Quasi Gilmer, 6'2". If he was 6'3", he probably has that one.
Maybe 6'2.5" even. He's a 3-and-out to start the day for UCLA, trying to keep the offense on the field. Iamaleava takes the check down. It's Javian Thomas, who they call Jet, picks up 9 and makes this third down very manageable.
Yeah, we talked about the improvement on third down and kind of having more options. And, of course, with a better run game, much more physical up front, but watch Nico's legs here as well.
The give, Thomas straight up the gut, and that's enough for today's first down.
A nice combo. We could see Garrett DiGiorgio, who we had a chance to sit down and talk with, and he's just talking. He's a UCLA guy through and through, California guy through and through. Said the most tickets he's only had to get was like 16. But he's talked about the way that this line has improved, and they've taken it on themselves to make this run game more physical.
Thomas with a third consecutive touch, plunges down to the 45. And they were trying to figure out that offensive line, a lot of moving pieces, but these last 2 and now into 3 weeks, they think they got the unit they want there.
Yeah, and we could talk about Jerry Neuheisel and the plays that he's calling, and any play caller would know. If those guys up front aren't getting the job done, it doesn't matter what kind of fancy toys you have. You can dress things up with the motion. He's done a lot of great things kind of changing that, but none of it works if the guys up front aren't getting their job done.
Berger brings up third down. It's an offensive line that has blocked for more than 200 yards per game the last 2 weeks after they really struggled to run the football in the first 4 losses.
Yeah, really impressed with what those guys are doing up front. And you know, this Maryland defense here, Mathis, the excellent true freshman, isn't going to be playing today, but this has been a pretty solid front. UCLA really kind of coming out, creating a new line of scrimmage.
Berger moves the chains once again as he spins away from tacklers down to the 42. A pair of third down conversions on this drive for UCLA.
And really, we've been talking about this, starts up front. A nice pull from your tight end, almost like a little lead blocker there. But they're really just dominating in the trenches so far, and you wonder, Ted Monachino, the defensive coordinator, he's not going to have that all day long. Maybe bringing some extra bodies into the box, introducing a little bit of run blitz as well.
Berger, nice juke, and he jumps down inside the 40 before D.D. Holmes makes the stop. You asked Jerry Neuheisel about the run game and the importance of that yesterday, and he said, hey, it's kind of simple. I'm just calling what we're good at.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's coming in as a coordinator and having been around these guys, you have a pretty good idea of what they're capable of doing. And, of course, you never want to throw previous coaches under the bus. And, of course, he didn't do that with us. But I think Jerry Neuheisel just has a really good idea of what these guys are capable of doing.
Iamaleava is batted down at the line of scrimmage. It's an incompletion, and it's a 3rd and long coming up for the Bruins.
And one thing you notice with Nico Iamaleava, 6'6" guy. Got an injury here.
It's Rico Flores, the wide receiver, who's down.
Like he just popped right up. Good to see. I was talking about Nico Iamaleava, though, and that throwing motion that he has. He's got a really low release for a guy his size, and it's hard to tell. I've never been 6'6", so I don't know what it's like when you're throwing the ball and guys are shorter than you, but he tends to have some balls knocked down at the line of scrimmage because he doesn't have an over-the-top delivery. It's almost straight out.
2 third-down conversions on this drive, trying to make it 3. Iamaleava throws it behind his intended target, and it brings up 4th down. Mikey Matthews' first catch. We'll see if they keep the offense on the field. Awkward spot in the field. They will not.
And one of the things you can see defensively there, again for Maryland, of course, Ted Monachino, this is what he said. You can't really afford to play too much man under against a guy like Nico Iamaleava. See zone eyes underneath, but some man defenders over the top, reacting quickly, making the play.
Mateen Bagani, who's out to attempt a 55-yarder.
Offense. 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
He's made from as long as 54 this season, but I imagine that might push them out of field goal range. Delay a game would make it a 60-yarder now.
Well, it's unusual. Like you see offenses intentionally do that to give punters room, but I know there have been a lot of changes, but you just can't. I mean, that's inexcusable. Yeah. You can't take yourself out of field goal range with a delay a game, especially when you know that you're going to be kicking it.
So Will Carroll has to come out for the 2nd time in as many drives today. Jalil Farouk lets it fly behind his head, and again UCLA touches it up inside the 10, and now both drives for the Terps will start inside the 10. Scoreless game from Pasadena. Time for today's Game Flow, sponsored by Progressive. Maryland making the cross-country trip to Pasadena to take on UCLA, and we've got a scoreless game. 3 drives in, about halfway through quarter number 1 here on FS1. And once again, for the 2nd straight drive to open this game for Maryland, Robert, they are backed up inside their own 10.
Yeah, and Pep Hamilton, the offensive coordinator, I mean, this changes what you kind of have in your arsenal. You can only take so many chances here backed up, and the offense is going to look a little bit different today. Leon Houghton, tight end, got his first TD reception a week ago against Nebraska. Not going to be there. Going to go with that quick exit from the huddle.
DeJuan Williams' first carry of the game as he goes straight up the middle and gives them a little bit of breathing room down to the 9 for 3 yards.
You can see went with Eli Mason in that backfield. And remember, Pep Hamilton from his days at Stanford, all the tight ends, all of those heavy formations, he's used to having tight ends and fullbacks in the run game, trying to create extra gaps.
Williams, a 2nd straight carry, got stacked up at the line of scrimmage. No gain. Yeah, at Stanford, he had 7 tight ends they sent to the NFL. 5 more in his time at Michigan they sent to the NFL. And he said, I think Dorian Fleming, who's our starting tight end, can be one that goes to the NFL as well.
Yeah, well, credit to this UCLA defense. And talk about all the changeover that's happened and Kevin Coyle coming in as the defensive coordinator, kind of putting in the defense on the fly. Guys are flying around, making plays.
Third down. Washington over the middle. It's caught. Shalik Knotts to the near side. He picks up Maryland's first down of the afternoon to keep the drive going on a pickup of 16.
Well, Shalik Knotts going to work his way all the way across the field on this one. And Pep Hamilton, the offensive coordinator, you expect the pressure. You know they're going to heat you up. Kevin Coyle, been around this game a long time. You know he's going to bring the pressure. But you have your mesh routes, your man concept as a quick answer.
Washington has time down the seam. It's incomplete. He wanted Octavian Smith. Cole Martin had the coverage downfield for UCLA.
Boy, Cole Martin was all over that one. I think that ball hit him on his helmet. Kevin Coyle, the defensive coordinator, he just couldn't say enough good things about Cole Martin. And being out at practice, you can just see the personality of some guys, no matter where they are. You know, you see him out at practice, putting moves on coaches.
Sidearm throw, that's Knotts with his second catch of the drive, twisting away from tacklers, and he's into UCLA territory, down to the 43.
What a tremendous throw from Malik Washington. Hits him in stride in that first window. So you got a little hook defender that wasn't able to get width quickly enough. But because Malik Washington hits him in stride, it allows Shalik Knotts to be great after the catch. Yards after catch can only happen if it's an accurate throw.
32 yards from Washington to Knotts. First snap in UCLA territory today. They go end around with Octavian Smith, who got crushed. Roderick Pleasant's the second time today he's put a punishing hit on a ball carrier.
Yeah, we talked about how physical he is, how fast he is. He does an excellent job tracking from the backside, but this is a good play call. You go first down on a play like that. A little bit of misdirection, unconventional run. It's a nice chunk to get ahead of schedule.
Dorian Fleming, the tight end we talked about just a moment ago, is in the backfield in front of Williams, motioned out. Williams with a patient run, stutter steps behind his line. It's a short pickup.
And this is a difference in the philosophy. I was talking to Pep Hamilton before the game and said, you know, what's it like, Mike Locksley, handing over the play calling to you this year? You know, is he in your ear a lot, making suggestions? He's like, no, actually, he's really pulled back. And more often than not, Pep Hamilton is going to Mike Locksley, but make no mistake about it. Pep Hamilton wants multiple tight ends. He wants those tight, big fronts.
Third down, the freshman, Washington, climbing the pocket, activates the legs, stretches to the near side, and he's got enough for a first down. Donovan Palat chased him down, but not in time before it moved the chains.
Boy, this looks so similar to a play a week ago against Nebraska where Malik Washington didn't seem to quite be aware on a fourth down play exactly where the first down was. Did a nice job picking it up.
Kayshawn Bennett came flying in to take down Deshaun Williams. DeJuan Williams taken down behind the line of scrimmage. Second and long. Washington looking right the whole way. He connects with his target. That's Jalil Farouk's first catch, and he's down to the 30. It's only 4 yards, so it's still a 3rd and 9 for the Terps.
Yeah, this is something that Pep Hamilton, the offensive coordinator, also talked about before the game. Jalil Farouk, getting him more involved. He's kind of in the doghouse a little bit a week ago, but he's out of it now. Big 3rd and long opportunity here on the edge of the red zone.
A possession that started at their own 6th. The 11th play of the drive, drops it off over the middle on a crossing route to Caleb Webb, who is taken down at the 20, and that's enough to move the chains on a 3rd and 9.
Boy, and this is the second time that we've seen this. Kevin Coyle, defensive coordinator, is going to dial up those pressures. And you have to expect that as a defense. Those guys have got to watch for those crossing routes. So many times, man-to-man, you're expecting man-to-man on those 3rd down situations, so you get a lot of crossers, you get the mesh-type concepts. Those middle defenders have got to look up those receivers crossing on those patterns.
Washington batted down and nearly intercepted. Isaiah Chisholm got his hand up there and almost had a pick.
Chisholm, just a redshirt sophomore out of Santa Clarita. And he had his eyes on Malik Washington the entire time right there, just kind of hiding back there. Almost got himself a pick.
Play number 13 is a run. Nolan Ray squeezing between the defense down to the 17.
Once again, those big body fronts get multiple tight ends in the game. That's really a signature of what Pep Hamilton has been around, really at Stanford when he was there with Greg Roman, the offensive coordinator. Spent some time as offensive coordinator himself, and even when he was in the league, most recently with the Texans, utilize those big bodies, go play action later.
Already 3 3rd down conversions this drive. Washington flush to the right, fires on their own end zone, and there is a flag. Wanted Shalik Knotts, but he draws the flag on Roderick Pleasant in coverage.
Pass interference, defense number 18. The ball will be placed at the 2-yard line with an automatic 1st down.
Boy, and Pleasant really does a nice job on this one. Oh, that's where it is. That's the hold. See, I thought this was at the end of the play. I didn't see that hand from that different angle. The officials caught that the entire way. Roderick Pleasant, he's supposed to be the fastest guy on the defense. Come on, man, you don't need to hold him. Just run with him.
Because it happened in the end zone, ball is at the 2. 1st and goal. DeJuan Williams trying to follow his right tackle, and he's ripped backwards. Great penetration from that UCLA front to keep him out of the end zone.
Well, you can just tell the way that these guys are playing up front, too. Kevin Coyle, a defensive coordinator, just doing a tremendous job with those guys. See them very active and violent with their hands, very good with the leverage, and then you see the overlap. You see that front line doing what they're supposed to do, linebackers coming up over the top, making sure there are no gaps.
A 15-play drive will continue once we start the 2nd quarter. We've got no score from the Rose Bowl between Maryland and UCLA. Today's game is sponsored by Graduate by Hilton. Spirited stays in your favorite college towns. No score, 1 quarter in, and a good old-fashioned defensive battle between Maryland and UCLA, but Maryland is right on the doorstep. Ball at the 3, about to have their 15th play of the drive.
And this is exactly what offensive coordinator Pep Hamilton wants. Come out with that tempo out of the huddle.
It's DeJuan Williams off the toss. Great job in the open field by UCLA's defense. Cole Martin started it. Roderick Pleasant finished it.
We talk about the energy that Cole Martin brings and said, okay, I'm going to be ready for this. You guys go ahead and get that little tempo huddle. I'm just going to track and go do my job, man. He's physical. He's so much fun to watch. Talk about his energy. You can just see it at the practice. A fun guy, but he brings that hat.
See if that defense can keep him out of the end zone.
Watch Washington's legs here.
Empty backfield. It's the arm. Fade to the corner. Broken up. Andre Jordan in one-on-one coverage against Shalik Knotts.
This is one might want to get a little bit more air under this one. Get the ball out a little bit earlier. It was pretty good coverage that time from Jordan. Got to get that ball up just a little bit higher. I couldn't tell if Jordan got the hand there or if he grabbed Knott's other arm. Keep him from getting both hands up. You make a high throw there, gives your wide receiver an opportunity to high point that ball.
Sean O'Hare from 24 yards out drives it straight through, and that is the first score of the game. Mike Loxley's team up 3-0 on the road. Great starts have been a theme for Maryland. 15-3 in August and September over the last 4 years, but 9 games below 500 to finish that. And so far, this season has been much of the same. 4-0, win the Big Ten opener, but unable to close out the last 2 weeks when Michael Loxley's team has had fourth quarter leads.
Yeah, and Mike Loxley was quick to point out to us, and I think to other people in the media, it's not the same old Maryland team. Just weren't able to finish a couple of those games.
Mokiao Ati-Malala with the return. He stumbles out of bounds near the 30. That's where Nico Iamaleava in this UCLA offense will try to respond after a 17-play Maryland drive, their longest of the season, that resulted in 3 points.
See if we can keep getting that run game cranked up. Good old-fashioned Big Ten, right?
That's right.
Everybody talk about all these quarterbacks, probably the best conference in the country when it comes to quarterbacks, but going back to the 3 yards in a cloud of dust.
Iamaleava snaps it to the sideline. That's Quasi Gilmer, the leading receiver for UCLA. His first catch of the afternoon goes for 5.
Boy, and for a long guy, I mean, he's just a really big guy, right? 6'6". He gets that ball out of there quickly. The catch and throw right there. A little bit inside to Gilmer. Iamaleava, he's a lot of fun to watch. And great personality, obviously. A lot of controversy.
Gives the football off to Jalen Berger. Yeah, that controversy you're talking about, the NIL disputes, that kind of happened in April of last year. He left the Tennessee program, but Tim Skipper was telling you and I yesterday that the narrative on this kid is completely wrong, and he is one of the most mentally tough people he's ever been around.
Well, like they say, a rumor's halfway around the world before the truth has left the house, right? And I think in this era of NIL, it's just going to happen with some guys, and the way that media, special social media works, all that matters is who you are, not who people think you are.
Play clock down to 3. Iamaleava right over the middle, wide open man. It's a first down for UCLA. Mokiao Ati-Malala's first catch of the day is a first down. Oh, and here is that Nico Iamaleava timeline. Starting quarterback, college football playoff appearance in 2024 with Tennessee.
Who they lose to?
Ohio State, eventual national champions. There, you happy? Enters the portal, comes home to UCLA about an hour from where he grew up, and has been sensational the last 2 weeks. 8 total touchdowns, no picks. That upset win over Penn State and a road win at Michigan State. Frias, bust loose. There he goes. Foot race. Touchdown UCLA.
But one of the things that's really stood out about Jerry Neuheisel's offense is the way he's created space in the pass game, but in the run game here, kind of using that motion to get the defense to get their eyes in the wrong place. Wide open in the middle of that defense, and Braden Lee just not enough juice to make the tackle. What a run by Frias, excuse me.
A quick strike response from UCLA as the point after is straight down the middle, and the Bruins take their first lead of the day.
They call Frias, they call him the Swiss Army knife, but a dagger into that Maryland Terrapin defense. Welcome back to the Rose Bowl in Pasadena. UCLA up 7-0. Here's how they got that touchdown. Watch the motion here and what that does, displacing a linebacker. We talked about the way that Jerry Neuheisel has been trying to create more space in the pass game. Well, here you get a lot of space in that run game. Get a little help from the official getting in the way, and from there, it's Anthony Frias turning on the Jets and getting it in for 6.
Longest run of the season for UCLA, a 55-yarder, and Tim Skipper's team responds quickly, takes their first lead of the day. We had no score after the first 15 minutes, 10 points scored in the matter of 2 minutes and 55 seconds to open the second quarter. A Maryland offense that had a 17-play drive, their longest of the season. Malik Washington had 3 third-down conversions on that last play, or on that last drive, Robert. And even as a 19-year-old true freshman, the calmness and the composure was on display that drive.
Boy, you could just see it. You know, you see it in some guys' eyes when you watch the games on TV. He just looks like one of those guys that's just so calm. And we talked about this. Mike Loxley has known him since he was in the 8th grade playing on those all-star teams. And the offense, Pep Hamilton, they got to be saying, we start at the 6-yard line, then the 8-yard line, 25-yard line, let's go.
By far the best starting field position. And it's a flea flicker on the first play. Washington launches downfield, and pass is nearly intercepted. Key Lawrence, playing in his 57th career game, nearly had the pick.
Oh, man, we had a great interview with Key Lawrence yesterday, and this is just a bad decision. You can't throw this football, and I know what happens so many times when you get those special kind of plays, you get a flea flicker like that, whether that's a player, a running back, or wide receiver that's going to be making that decision. Like, they feel that they just need to throw the ball. And sometimes you want to give your receiver a chance, but just way too much air. Good coverage there by the Bruin defense.
Quick screen. Farouk on the near sideline, squeezing between 2 defenders, and he picks up 7 before Key Lawrence is in on a second consecutive play.
Yeah, the thing about Key Lawrence and, you know, kind of what he's trying to instill. Look, he's been all over college football, right? Like, he's been to Oklahoma, been to Ole Miss. He's like, I might as well play in every conference in the country. But you can see the intensity, the way he brings that hat, physical tackle. He wants to inspire these guys. Say, hey, we want the country talking about us. Big third down here from Malik Washington.
He called that Penn State win contagious. He said he wants that feeling more. Washington steps up. It's incomplete, looking for Shalik Knotts. And 4th down. UCLA's defense with the stop, and the punt unit comes out for the Terps.
Yeah, Kevin Coyle, the defensive coordinator, go with a little simulated pressure right there and kind of speed up the clock in that young quarterback's mind. He sees all those people lined up at the line of scrimmage, thinking it's going to be an all-out blitz with man behind it. Pull some of those guys back out, bring them into zone coverage, nowhere to go with that ball.
Bryce McPherson boots it away. Says Mikey Matthews, lets it fly behind him. And finally, Maryland's able to flip the table on UCLA and force the Bruins to start inside their own 10. We've got a fun one in the Big Ten here on FS1. Weekdays right here on FS1, sharp minds talking everything that matters. Wake up, Barstool, The Herd, and First Things First. It's sports talk that never lets up. Weekdays on FS1. It's a no-brainer.
It's a 3-brainer.
I like that. Nico Iamaleava in this UCLA offense, able to strike for a quick touchdown last drive on a 55-yard run from Anthony Frias, and he's completed 6 passes to 6 different receivers. It's a direct snap to Jalen Berger, the running back, who gets crushed as he crosses the 10 for 5 yards.
Yeah, we've seen some variations of the Wildcat where Iamaleava lines up under center, then does a little shift. Jalen Berger has been in on a couple of those plays, but certainly Ted Monachino, the defensive coordinator for Maryland, he's been repping that one. But it was a nice game.
Yeah.
You know it's coming. Power of the Wildcat. Get extra numbers in the run game.
Iamaleava hands it off, and Berger gets ripped down by the ankles. That's Daniel Wingate with the stop, and it's 3rd down coming up for the Bruins.
But this is really what UCLA wants to do on offense. We had talked about it. Nico Iamaleava, 4 out of 6 games this season, had led the team in rushing carries. And with those running backs carrying that ball, he's doing a great job really mixing up formations and giving a lot of different pictures to this Maryland defense to account for.
Iamaleava, collapsing pocket. Skates away. He's got a 1st down, but the flag is thrown, and that might be in the vicinity of a holding against the Bruins.
It might be left guard Eugene Brooks that gets called here.
Holding. Offense number 77.
Oh, it's a left tackle.
To the goal. 3rd down.
You're going to see him right over here. Oh, yeah. Got him collared right in front of the official, too. Like, if you're gonna do that, you're gonna sneak that. Make sure the official's not standing right behind you.
Wipes away what would have been a 1st down run by Nico Iamaleava. 3rd and 10 now for UCLA. Swings it out. Frias makes 1-man miss, and then he gets wrapped up and pushed out of bounds shy of the 10. It's 4th down.
Boy, what a difference that makes, right? We talk about any of these penalties deep in your own territory. But you get one that actually reverses a 1st down like that, and then you're punting from your own end zone. Maryland, an excellent opportunity to get some great field position here. And they may come after this thing. Special teams coach Andre Powell, the first time they've ever had a specialized coach that only focused on special teams.
Maryland does send the house. Carroll gets it away with ease. Farouk from inside midfield has a little bit of space, and he returns it to the +42. It's a 7-yard return, and you said it, Maryland has phenomenal field position to start this drive. Down 7-3 halfway through the 2nd. Today's game is sponsored by Graduate by Hilton. Spirited stays in your favorite college towns. A 55-yard touchdown run is the only touchdown today for either team from Anthony Frias on his lone carry of the day, as UCLA up 7-3 from the Rose Bowl, but it's Maryland who takes over in plus territory. Iverson Howard's first carry. The true freshman is swung to the ground by Jalen Woods.
Boy, Woods just does a great job of running this thing all the way down from the backside. You're not going to account for him on the backside. I think somebody's supposed to turn out on that one. Leave a guy like that free. He sees 2 players motion to the left side. Pretty good idea where that one was going.
Washington sets, throws to the sideline. That's caught by Octavian Smith for a short pickup. Still 3rd and long coming up for the Terps.
Dangerous throw right there, Cole Martin. We've mentioned his name a few times tonight. Such an active safety, almost able to get in front of that one. A little bit of confusion, as you would expect from guys that are installing the new defense just about every week here over the last 4 weeks.
That defense trying to force a 3 and out, and that pass is thrown behind Shalik Knotts. Roderick Pleasant was right there regardless for UCLA. It's 4th and 8.
Well, as with any quarterback, accuracy usually determined by the footwork, and Malik Washington, still a young quarterback, true freshman, as we talked about, had prom 5-6 months ago. Gets a little bit hurried with his feet with the pressure. Ends up with an inaccurate throw behind his intended target.
3rd 3 and out today for Maryland. They took over in UCLA territory, but unable to make anything of it, and that punt flies out of bounds. Drive will start at the 10 after a 30-yard punt. Tomorrow in FS1, the fight for the American League crown continues as Cal Raleigh and the Mariners take on Vlad Jr. and the Blue Jays. Game 6 of the ALCS coverage begins tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific on FS1.
I mean, what's going on in baseball? Cal Raleigh, you know, we got a center hitting 61 home runs. Last night out here, of course, not too far from here, Shohei Ohtani. 3 home runs in that, and 3 home runs in that game, and he throws 6 shutout innings. And Babe Ruth, I guess, had never even hit a home run in the postseason when he was a starting pitcher. Shohei's something special.
This is Jet with the carry. It's a short pickup of a yard. 3 for 3, 3 home runs, 6 scoreless innings, 10 strikeouts is not humanly possible, I don't think, but somehow it was.
What a crazy stat line, right?
Nico Iamaleava and UCLA scored a touchdown a couple drives ago thanks to a 55-yard run from Anthony Frias, the 4th-string running back who entered today with 37 total yards on the ground.
Yeah, and I think what we're seeing in this game, 2 very experienced defensive coordinators that have spent a lot of time in the NFL, yeah. Kevin Coyle and Ted Monachino.
Iamaleava flushed out to the right, surveying. Can't make anything happen. He gets shoved out of bounds after a short pickup.
Well, I was going to say, you know, you've got experienced defensive coordinators like that, especially guys that have spent time in the NFL. And Mike Loxley said to us, you know, these NFL guys, you know, on the defensive side with Monachino, offensive side with Pep Hamilton and Andre Powell, the special teams coach. He said these guys are like a cheat code, you know, because they're going to analyze film in a way that, quite frankly, a lot of college coaches just can't and don't. And they've really come up with some looks here that I think are confusing these opposing quarterbacks.
See if Nico and this UCLA offense can stay on the field. He spins away from what would have been a sack, and now he's dropped behind the line of scrimmage. Daniel Wingate's there for the sack, along with Nasir Taylor for a loss of 5, and it's 4th down. There is a flag.
It's in the defensive secondary.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, offense number 3. Half the distance to the goal. It is 4th down, and that is number 3's first unsportsmanlike conduct foul of the game.
And I'm sure Mike Loxley sighing in relief there because his team had been on the wrong side of some of those unsportsmanlike penalties over the last couple of weeks. And he's done a great job, really, of corralling those guys and talking to them. And he said he's had so much more time to spend with the players. In his story, he told us about being at practice and just kind of seeing a player down on the sideline. We'll get back to that.
Carroll boots it away, and it is a great punt.
Don't do it.
Takes an extra hop in favor of UCLA, where it's touchdown to 34 after a 61-yard punt. Still 7-3 from the Rose Bowl on FS1.
Coming up on the State Farm halftime, Ole Miss and Georgia go down to the wire in their top 10 battle. Late drama in Tempe as an unbeaten goes down, and several Heisman candidates state their cases. Noah and Robert, back to you.
Oh, Mike, what a catch, striking the Heisman pose, too.
That's why they call him the Thrill. Was it the Vanderbilt quarterback? I guess he struck that Heisman pose earlier. You know, we were talking about Mike Locksley and being a head coach that's now not calling the offensive plays. I think he has a much better pulse for the team and has really been able to pick up on little things and which players to reach out to.
Handoff, this is Williams, and he stopped right at the line to gain. You had asked him earlier this week, too, Rob. You said, what's been the biggest change about you from last year to this year? And he said, quite simply, I'm listening more. I was too buried in practice sheets and scripts, and now I've been very intentional about creating relationships with my players.
Yeah, and it was just a great story. He talked about seeing a player who looked like he was upset at practice, and we wrote a little note to himself on his pad and made it a point to reach out to that player and see what was going on. And with so many young players, 21 freshmen on this team, that's so important.
Washington, just 2 of his last 7 pumps, completes the pass across the 40. That's Dorian Fleming, the tight end's first catch of the day. It's 3rd and short for the Terrapins after a 9-yard gain.
Not a lot of hesitation in this young man. Malik Washington, a true freshman. And it's amazing when you talk about the development of quarterbacks from year 1 to year 2, but just the comfort that he has had in developing this year.
Williams tried to bounce it to the left. I think he's short. Keanu Williams, the redshirt senior, got into the backfield for the stop.
6'5", 320 pounds of Keanu Williams. Big man right in the middle of the defense. Guys just not staying blocked. Block destruction, but they're going to go for it on 4th down, or at least line up to go for it.
In their own territory, 4th and less than a yard.
Okay, I say no.
They go. And it's a first down. Williams sidestepping a defender, carries the defense with him inside the 35. On 4th and 1, Williams got 23.
The thing they say about DeJuan Williams, got the speed and the power. He's also got a little bit of that hurdling ability. You could see it right there. Sidesteps, gets a little stiff arm. Great play on 4th down.
They fake it to him. Washington has time. Sidearm delivery to Williams. Lost the football. UCLA's got it. Isaiah Chisholm punched it out. John Vaughn's recovered, and the Bruins have the football.
Defensive coordinator Kevin Coyle, he's talked about Chisholm and Vaughn's, and
UCLA.
I think that's going to stand under review because clearly had possession of that ball, made a football move getting upfield, but he's just talked about what tone setters both of these guys have been. Which you always want from that linebacker position, but that's just coming in there with the right technique, sticking that right L on the football and knocking it loose.
I wonder if they might take a look at this.
Well, they are going to take a look at it, but it looked like he had clear possession.
On the field on the previous play was catch, fumble, recovery, defense. That ruling is under further review.
So the call on the field is catch, fumble, recovered by UCLA. It would be Maryland's just their 4th turnover all season. We do have our rules expert, Mike Pereira, with us. Mike, do you think he had enough possession of that football for that to be a fumble?
Well, I think you got to go through the whole process. So first thing you're going to look for is control. Does he have control? Yes. Does he turn upfield? I would say yes. Tuck it away? Yes. The fact that it was ruled to catch, it's close, but the fact that it was ruled to catch and fumble on the field, I don't think, as we look at it here, I don't think they can change that.
Yeah, Mike, thank you. Robert, that's essentially what you were just saying 2 moments ago.
Yes, and Mike, of course, his analysis is sharp as his suit and pocket square. Always looking the part of the rules expert. Yeah, I think especially since it was called the fumble on the field, nothing in that clear and obvious to overturn. But those elements, catching the ball, having clear control of it, turning upfield, that element of time, be difficult to overturn. They're taking a look at it for a while, though.
If it stands, that's only turnover number 4 this season for Maryland in game number 7. They've been so good at taking care of the football.
Yeah, number 1 in the Big Ten, number 1 in the nation in turnover margin at +10.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field of catch, fumble, recovery, UCLA is upheld. First down, UCLA.
Well, there you go. The fumble is upheld, meaning the nation's number 1 team in turnover margin at +10 has just given it away. And at least for today, they are -1.
Just the type of mistake going on the road that it drives you crazy as a coach. That's what happens with young players, though, right? Guys different from half to half, let alone game to game. But they've started so quickly and fallen behind late.
Says Anthony Woods. He was a game-time decision leading into today. His first carry is a loss of 1 as Wingate gets into the backfield.
What I was going to say is, you know, this is much different than what's happened to them in their 2 previous losses. They've come out, they've made some mistakes, but still playing with a lot of fire defensively and offensively. Just had some looks that have confused them a bit.
Fourth quarter leads in each of their last 2 games against Washington and Nebraska, but haven't been able to hold on to them. Iamaleava has a clean pocket, zips it over the middle. That's Gilmore, who captures it near midfield. First down, UCLA.
This is an absolute strike from Nico Iamaleava. What a tremendous throw. It has to get that thing in the perfect place, and love the courage from Gilmer.
Longest completion of the day for Iamaleava. He's got UCLA near midfield trying to add points in the final 2 minutes. Next on FS1. So while we were at the break, they announced they're going to take a look at a potential targeting on Trey Reddick for that last hit before the timeout of Quasi Gilmer coming over the middle.
Yeah, and with a defenseless player, doesn't have to be with the crown of the helmet. It looks like he lowers his helmet, gets into Gilmer. It seems like he's making contact into the head and neck area, right into the helmet.
After reviewing the play, there is a personal foul targeting Maryland number 3, contact to a defenseless player into the head and neck area. The 15-yard penalty be added to the end of the run. Number 3 is disqualified from the remainder of the competition.
Wow, Trey Reddick is out. Mike Pereira with us. Mike, is that what you saw as well?
Yeah, although I think he has completed the catch, he did get a body part down. He still is considered defenseless until that time frame where he can actually protect himself and ward off contact. And to me, being defenseless, leading with the shoulder to the head or neck area is targeting, and I do believe that's the right call.
Mike, that is a big loss for Maryland, who is already without Zaire Mathis, their true freshman linebacker. They're now down a second linebacker as Trey Reddick is out. First down after the 23-yard pass play. Jalen Berger slips away from a tackler, gets a couple extra yards on the second effort. Maryland told us that they wanted to get some of their reserves a little bit more time, Robert. Well, they don't have a choice. That's going to have to be the case today now.
Yeah, they certainly do. And Keyshawn Flowers and Michael Harris at that linebacker spot, because they wanted to take at least 15 to 20 snaps away from some of those starters because they saw that they were wearing down later in games.
Iamaleava hit as he throws into one-on-one coverage, and that is way too far for Rico Flores. Wingate had the hit on the throw of Nico Iamaleava.
And Ted Monachino, the defensive coordinator, he talked about some of the blitzes that they've been dialing up. And, you know, Daniel Wingate comes from that linebacker spot, and this is one that Iamaleava just can't see. And because the offensive line has really already declared their protection, and they've picked up the people that they see are blitzing, you get that late blitz from Wingate, and a lot of times that guy can get home.
3 of 7 on third down today. Driving in Maryland territory. UCLA's offense trying to stay on the field. Handed off to Berger, who lowers the shoulder down to the 25. That's enough for a first down.
Man, I love the way that Berger runs here. Watch the little jump cut back on this one. He really sets that thing up because Wingate believes that he's going to take that ball front side. That's because he did what you call pressing the line of scrimmage. You make those decisions late, make those linebackers flow, and then cut it back.
3-touchdown game against his former team last week, a Michigan State transfer, and he's had a nice drive here. Iamaleava escapes pressure, sliding past a couple, zips it on the run, and pass is intercepted. Jalen Husky's 3rd pick of the season, and now Maryland has a nation-leading 11th pick.
It wasn't a bad decision to make the throw. He's just got to get more air on that thing. And look, we, guys on Sunday, we watch Lamar Jackson and we watch the Josh Allens and the Patrick Mahomes of the world, and they make those throws on third down, but those are really elite players. And we've talked about some of the inaccuracies with Nico Iamaleava and that tendency for that low throw. That motion just kind of gets that ball out low, and that's what it was right there. He had his tight end wide open. If he could have gotten some air on that one, it might have been 6.
13 interceptions for Maryland, and you had mentioned that point earlier in the game, that low arm slot for Nico Iamaleava. This time it forces a turnover. Quick pass on the screen. Farouk turns it upfield, and he's spun down just shy of the 20. That is enough for a first down, though, for the Terrapins.
Extension of the run game, those advantage type throws, and it's really just straight number count. Do we have the numbers for that quick little smoke?
Going tempo with under a minute to go. Pumps once, completes it to Nolan Ray, and a crushing hit. Anthony Jones for UCLA put a hit on Ray, who is slow to get up.
You see Jones right here.
44 seconds, please.
Good with his eyes.
Thank you.
Nice clean hit. It's like it just catches him right in the midsection. Kind of gets that helmet right into the gut. Whew. And that's one where you get the wind knocked out of you, which is a scary feeling, especially when you've never had it happen to you before. I've told this story before. Like the first time it happened to me, it happened on Sunday night football, and got the wind knocked out of me, and it had never happened to me before, and I couldn't breathe, right? And I'm, I catch my breath, of course. I'm walking back to the sideline, and I'm laughing. They're like, "What are you laughing about?" I said, "I thought I was going to die on national TV 10 seconds ago." That's pretty funny.
Some people have a different definition of funny, I suppose. 44 seconds before halftime. Maryland trying to drive deep into their own territory. Screen pass, Octavian Smith spins to the outside, turns the corner, runs out of bounds, stops the clock with 40 seconds to play before halftime.
Boy, and Roderick Pleasant did exactly what he's supposed to do. And you just tell when guys are well coached. It's the way that they execute techniques. And Kevin Coyle, of course, came in as that defensive coordinator. Roderick Pleasant knew exactly how to take that block on, how to leverage the football, keep that outside arm free, use the sideline as his friend. That creates a 3rd and long situation for this Maryland offense.
Just 3 of 8, 0 for their last 4 on 3rd down. Washington, plenty of time, scans, fires down the seam, and it is incomplete. There is a flag, though. Was looking for Octavian Smith. Robert Stafford III had the coverage.
Defense number 3, 15-yard penalty from the previous spot, automatic first down.
Yeah, and Stafford's going to be in good position. Just gets a little bit handsy, and we've seen that before. Those guys try and get that hand on the back of the jersey, and of course, it's always easy to tell who the guilty person is because they're sticking their hands up saying they're innocent.
That is
good position, just don't get that hand inside of that jersey. We saw that earlier from Pleasant. Not a technique that you want to copy.
Washington drops it off. DeJuan Williams ripped down in a nice open field tackle that time by Jalen Woods.
And this Maryland offense, obviously beneficiaries of that.
Please reset the game clock to 26 seconds. 26 seconds, please.
Beneficiaries of that penalty, but this
Thank you.
UCLA defense doing a pretty solid job. And, you know, Tim Skipper, you know, he reached out to Kevin Coyle, and, you know, they had a history and coaching some time together, and, you know, just thought he was going to be the right guy to bring in. And of course, Tim Skipper, he's a defensive-minded guy. You know, played under Pat Hill at Fresno State, was of course the interim head coach at Fresno State last year. But bringing Kevin Coyle in, and those guys have kind of installed defense on the fly together. What a job Tim Skipper's done. You know, really talked about war rooming with the offensive, defensive coaches, really pushing each other on different scenarios that might come up into games. It's paid big dividends so far.
Second down. Washington to the far side, has an open man. Oh, it was almost intercepted. Scooter Jackson came flying in at the last moment to break up what could have been a huge gain.
You know, and one of the things that you do with young quarterbacks, but just quarterbacks in general, you want to try and give them a different look post-snap than they see pre-snap and kind of bait them into some of those throws. And had a pressure look, like those guys were going to blitz. They backed out of that. Washington almost able to make that completion, but just as easily could have gone the other way.
Play clock winding down to 5. Maryland has to take a timeout. And Mike Loxley is not happy that he had to take one when the clock was stopped.
Now, we talk about, you know, what Tim Skipper, you know, what he's done, and he's just so much fun to talk to,
awesome.
right? Like, I mean, and this is one of the best stories in all college football. And you have a winless team beating a top 10 team for the first time since 10 years before my partner was born, 1985. Utah beating BYU.
Only 9 years.
Oh, 9 years, sorry. But, you know, just kind of bringing these guys around. He said the first thing he made them do was clean the locker room. Yeah. So it's like, hey, it sounded simple, but that was the first thing that he did. But he brought in the right people as well.
Washington uses the legs, slips away from one, makes a cut. He's got a first down. The clock will stop momentarily at 18 seconds.
And this is what they said they got from Malik Washington. They finally got him to run when they wanted him to run. An empty look here.
Washington fires against his body to the sideline. Wow. to Williams, and he made the catch. Wow.
I don't know if that foot was in. Looks like that.
It's incomplete.
Yeah, that right foot looked like it was out. Because, yeah, he has to go up. Yep.
Yep.
It was a heck of a throw, though. Almost.
Sean O'Hare's season long is 49 yards, so you'd need to pick up about 20 yards from this point to give him an attempt at his season long of 49. Play clock down to 2. Washington stepping up, gets away. He's got space. Washington out of bounds, just shy of the 40 with 3 seconds to go. So still well shy of what field goal range would be.
We talked about this earlier. Mike Loxley, Pep Hamilton, the head coach, son is also on the team. You know, since the 8th grade, they've had their eye on Malik Washington. He plays the same year as Pep Hamilton's son. And the thing that really stands out is the poise.
Yeah.
Just how calm he is. And that last play, a great example of it. If we have a chance to pull that replay up, you know, he gets pressure and gets people at his legs, coming at his legs. Just no panic at all. And even for a young player, you know, it's not thinking so much as it is reacting. Just such a natural feel inside of the pocket for when he needs to escape. And, of course, he's got the wheels to do some damage.
Washington played on Pep Hamilton's son's team in 8th grade. Jackson Hamilton, who's also a true freshman here at Maryland. He said, when I first met him in 8th grade, that was the first moment where I said, this kid's he's a little different.
Different in a good way.
In a great way.
All kinds of space.
Final play. Washington sets, lofts it towards the end zone, looking for a score right before halftime.
Oh.
And it's incomplete. Story of half number 1, Robert. Defense, defense, defense.
They say that wins championships. I'm an offensive guy, but I believe that may be true sometimes.
7-3 at halftime. UCLA up at home. Now out to our studios for the State Farm halftime show with Mike Hill and the guys.
Yeah, Bruins trying to keep that improbable run going, leading at the half for the 3rd straight game, 7-3 over Maryland at home. As we welcome you to the State Farm halftime show. That's Chris Peterson, Bruce Feldman, and Mike Hill hanging out with you. We've been so focused on UCLA's run and that offense over the last couple of games, averaging 40 points a game, that we need to give a little credit over to the defense for the last 2 games, last week and this week, as we take a look at the State Farm halftime highlights, but also sloppy play affecting both teams.
A little bit. You could also say defenses are flying around making a play. You know, Maryland's been really good at protecting the ball, getting turnovers, and here's UCLA getting one. You got to give credit to Tim Skipper and the confidence that he's brought into UCLA. Iamaleava here, you know, he just gets that ball up a little bit more. It's not quite as that's a very ugly interception just looking at it right there, but the guy who was open behind him makes 2 guys miss. You know, like you just said, Mike, UCLA leading 3 straight games at halftime. Mm-hmm. They're going to believe that they can come out as long as they don't turn the ball over, which Maryland is so good at creating turnovers, getting turnovers, those type of things. I still like UCLA's chances.
Yeah, I do too. I think what we're seeing here, you know, big change in the building in demeanor with the leadership of UCLA. More encouraging, more positive. You know, a lot of that was with Skipper, certainly with Jerry Neuheisel taking over the offense. We see Nico responding. Now, Nico just had that turnover. I think the key thing is just to stay aggressive, because right now we see them spreading the ball around. And if I was a UCLA fan, I would be very excited about the direction right now of this program.
Going in the right direction right now, and they are believing up once again, 7-3 at the half, second half coming up momentarily. Hey, it's one of the most storied rivalries in college football history, USC and Notre Dame. The Irish won 6 of the last 7 meetings in this series, and today the 2 programs took the field in a top 25 matchup, and first possession for USC, they go right down the field, Jaden Maiava to Lake McCree for the 10-yard touchdown.
Beautiful ball placement and catch. That's about as pinpoint accurate as you can get.
So they do it through the air. Notre Dame does it on the ground, and they're doing it well on the ground so far.
They are, Mike. They're averaging 13 yards a carry, and that guy, Jeremiah Love, he might go for 300 yards tonight on the Trojans.
Jeremiah Love doing it. Then they got the other guy, Jadarian Price. 2 great running backs.
This is the best combination in country.
Absolutely.
For sure.
No doubt about that. Right now, 14-10, Notre Dame on top. Alabama playing its 4th straight top 20 opponent, number 11, Tennessee in the house. Ty Simpson, Ryan Williams. He didn't have a catch last week. He made a great one right there.
He had some drops last week. He has stepped up in a big way in there. Isaiah Horton coming through, cashing it out.
So Alabama taking a 7-0 lead on its first possession. Joey Aguilar Sack right there. That Alabama defense coming up big on 3rd and 6. But Aguilar bounces right back, drives him down the field, finds Braylon Staley in the back of the end zone. And we're in Tuscaloosa halfway through the second quarter. We are tied at 7 in the SEC matchup. Number 5 Ole Miss, 9th ranked Georgia, battled it out in Athens today. The Rebels trying to stay unbeaten in the top 10 matchup. I think Georgia scored again. If they had the ball, they would. And you have to see how Arizona State pulled off the upset of the day in Tempe. We got your highlights coming up next.
Welcome back to the State Farm FS1 College Football Halftime Show. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
UCLA leading at the half, 7-3 over Maryland, looking for its 3rd straight win. Chris Peterson, Bruce Feldman, Mike Hill hanging out with you. Hey, Ole Miss has won 2 of their last 3 matchups with Georgia, but they haven't won in Athens since 1996. Today they visited Georgia in the top 10 battle. Kirby Smart, Lane Kiffin going at it, and this game had no punts in the first half and didn't look like it was going to have a punt at all. Trinidad Chambliss, Dijon Stribling, their first possession of the 3rd quarter. Ole Miss up 28-20. But Ole Miss could not stop Georgia all day. Gunnar Stockton, Lawson Lucky. Georgia never punted.
That's amazing. And Ole Miss barely punted.
And they scored on every possession, but in the 4th quarter, Georgia's defense finally showed up. 43-35, Ole Miss falls for the first time this season. Georgia proves to 6-1. How about Vandy? Vandy's for real, y'all.
How about Vandy?
Favorite in SEC play for the first time in 47 years, taking on LSU. Garrett Nussmeier in the pressure, finds Xavier Thomas, and Thomas doing his thing.
That is one heck of a run by Thomas. I mean, breaking tackles. I know, Bruce, you're going to say tackle him, but when you got that kind of strength and speed, good luck.
Tigers down by 3, but too much Vanderbilt, man. They are for real. Diego Pavia has his team believing. Remember, they beat number 1 Alabama last year, number 10 LSU this year, 31-24. Here's Clark Lee after the game.
We wanted to play to win this game, and that means that you have to trust the players in those situations. We're going to get in good designs to attack the opponent's structure, but we feel like when we step on the field, we tip the field, and if we play with the right attitude and we're physical, again, the game honors toughness, and if we're the tougher team, that we're going to be able to separate. So there's a lot of confidence on that side of the ball, and it's well-deserved.
Vandy 6-1 for the first time since 1950. Number 4, Texas A&M having an issue against Arkansas. Taylor Green, Jaden Platt, 4-yard touchdown. It's a 3-point game right here in the 4th. Le'Veon Moss not playing for Texas A&M, but Reuben Owens is. 12-yard touchdown, second of the game, still going on. 45-35, Texas A&M with the 10-point lead late. Number 1 Ohio State rolling against Wisconsin. Julian Sayin has just too many weapons.
Too many weapons. Look at him move in the pocket. Carnell Tate, man, is he good.
Speaking of good, how good was Sayin today? He had a career-high game in every category.
When you have those receivers, Bruce, you and I could have a pretty good game. And I like Julian Sayin a lot.
The number 1 team in the nation rolls again. Texas Tech came in undefeated, but playing without Baron Morton. Will Hammond, his team was down late, but he led them back right here to Reggie Virgil. Red Raiders up 22-19, but 38 seconds left. How about Arizona State driving down the field, Malik Brown getting into the end zone, and Arizona State pulling off the upset of previously unbeaten Texas Tech, 26-22. Let's go back to the Georgia game once again. They outscored Ole Miss 17-0 in that 4th quarter, 143-13 in yardage in that 4th quarter. They took control. What was your biggest takeaway?
This is not the Georgia I know with Kirby Smart there. I mean, it's all about offense. This offense was spectacular. Ole Miss's offense was pretty darn good. But you know what? Gunnar Stockton, I'm loving this guy, and he's kind of flying under the radar. He was really good all day today. Second half, when it matters the most, he's 12 for 12, 3 touchdowns. He ran the ball for 59 yards. He's just playing clean. And if Kirby can get that defense going a little bit like he's used to with this offense, how Gunnar's playing, don't count the dogs out.
No. Maybe it took them a while to get anything going on defense, but in the 4th quarter, Trinidad Chambliss was 1 for 10. As you said, very few yards, no sacks today for the Dogs. That has been an issue, right? They produced so many elite defensive linemen, and it just seems like there's a big drop-off there. A bunch of them went in the portal, one's at Missouri, tearing it up for the Tigers. I think that's they're just not as talented as they used to be. But I think the bright spot, as Coach said, when you see Gunnar Stockton playing, like, that's what a lot of people inside the Georgia program was like, yeah, this is why we're okay with Carson Beck leaving and going to Miami.
And it just seems like Georgia has played from behind all season long, but they just always find a way to win when it matters the most, especially at home. Of course, they won 34-35 at home. Meanwhile, number 3, Indiana is riding high after last week's win over Oregon, and today Heisman favorite Fernando Mendoza continued to impress. We got highlights of the Hoosiers getting it done. And Nico Iamaleava, he's played well lately, but right here, he'd like to have that one back. Jalen Husky got him, but his team's up 7-3 at the break.
Welcome back to the State Farm FS1 College Football Halftime Show. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Hey, who's going to be that Group of 5 rep this year? A lot of people think it could have been Memphis.
Just got interesting today.
Still, they played UAB. Ryder Burton, Iverson Hooks. Remember, they just fired Trent Dilfer. The great Chris Mortenson's son taking over.
Alex Mortensen, a guy who spent a lot of years behind the scenes at Alabama. Big first game for him. It's pretty awesome.
UAB winning. They have knocked Memphis out 31-24. This going on over on Fox. It's the Holy War. Utah, BYU, ranked teams. Daniel Brate. 4th and 1. BYU, that defense, offense and defense, good for BYU this season.
Reflecting their head coach's personality, Kalani Sitake.
Yeah, Bear Bachmeier right there to Chase Roberts, and that's a lead right there. Cougars up 7-0. Oregon and Rutgers. What a day for Dante Moore. Kenyon Sadiq. Ooh.
Jiminy Christmas. How about that frozen rope?
Say it again. What you say? Jesus, Christmas? What was that?
I don't know, but it's got my attention.
Take it. Sadiq's second TD catch of the day. Oh, everybody's opening presents. 49-3 Ducks. Michigan State, Indiana. Oh, Kurt Signetti. Google him. Okay.
Google's talking back.
Google's talking back.
He's the richest man in Bloomington.
Fernando Mendoza. Oh, my. Oh, hey, you can see Fernando Mendoza, you can see Kirk Signetti, you can see Google, you can see everybody next weekend. Big noon kickoff. Heading to Bloomington as third-ranked Indiana hosts UCLA. Coverage begins at 10 a.m. Eastern, leading into game time at noon. That's next Saturday on Fox. We got second half between UCLA and Maryland coming up. Bruins trying to win their third straight game. They're up 7-3.
The halftime report card is sponsored by Graduate by Hilton. Spirited stays in your favorite college towns. We've got a defensive battle going through the first half. UCLA at home on top of Maryland, 7-3. We welcome you back inside the booth here at the Rose Bowl. Robert Smith, Noah Reed back with you. We opened this game tonight talking quarterbacks, talking offense. So why wouldn't this game have just 10 combined points between the two?
Yeah, and I think when you talk about these defensive coordinators, Ted Marchiona and Kevin Coyle for UCLA, you know, the guys with NFL experience and the way that they're used to game planning and really presenting different pictures to those offenses, they've really confused the opposing side. Credit to both of those guys.
Yeah, the defensive coordinators have been phenomenal with the way that they've drawn up the schemes today. It is Maryland football to open up this second half after they won the toss, elected to defer. Malik Washington hasn't necessarily been spectacular in terms of the stats that you're going to see on the screen here, Robert. But as a true freshman, we noticed this a couple times in the first half. The composure was phenomenal during big moments in the first half.
Yeah, it really was. And, you know, we talked about Kevin Coyle, the defensive coordinator for UCLA, and you know, first of all, he said this is the most joyous team he's ever been around, like in the locker room after those victories against Penn State, Michigan State, and they were so excited about the new things, the new looks that they were adding this week.
Washington wants to throw on the opening play of the quarter. That's through the hands of Nolan Ray, the running back, to bring up second down.
Well, I love what Pep Hamilton is thinking here, though, as a coordinator. At least I believe I know what he's thinking. You just try and go with a simple throw, right? You try and go with an advantage throw, something that's just an extension of the run game. Get the ball out of your quarterback's hand quickly early in the second half.
Second down, Washington, all kinds of time. Now flush right, pumps, uses the legs, tiptoes the sideline, picks up something on a play that looked like nothing for a while.
Yeah, it looked like nothing because UCLA, unlike in that first half, when we lost some of those crossers, did a much better job looking those guys up this time, and even Malik Washington, nothing for an option downfield. All of those wide receivers just plastered.
UCLA defense trying to force the fourth 3-and-out of this game. Washington climbs the pocket. That is way too high for Jalil Farouk. And UCLA's defense does have a 3-and-out to start the third quarter.
It's the second time that we've seen an inaccurate throw like that from Malik Washington, really an unforced error. In that first half, it was a throw behind his wide receiver. This one in front of his wide receiver, and pretty good coverage again from this UCLA defense, really not giving him any space.
Giving up just 3 points through the first half plus of this game. Punt is reeled in, and Mikey Matthews is ripped out of bounds immediately after a 51-yard punt.
Again, that's really been the incredible part of the defensive performance. I mean, you know, you're talking about defense gave up 450 yards in the game against New Mexico, had given up, 400 or so yards against Utah. And we talked about the decision that Kevin Coyle made coming over as a defensive coordinator and all the experience that he had with Tim Skipper. Those guys have just done a tremendous job on that side of the ball. We'll talk a little bit more about Tim Skipper and some of the tools that he's used to motivate this team to not be the one-hit wonders.
Nico Iamaleava takes over first drive of this third quarter for UCLA. Gives the football off. Jalen Berger continues to churn the legs down to the 24. He picks up 6.
Yeah, and just nothing complicated. In talking to Jerry Neuheisel, we talked about the improvement in the run game. Like, what would you attribute that to? Like, well, just doing what they do well. And if you have guys that aren't going to be great pullers and they're not going to be great for those types of counter power gap scheme, get the guys blocking duo. They can't handle people as well. Single blocking, put them in duo.
One more time to Berger. This time he's stacked up at the 25. You had talked about Tim Skipper and the ways that he tried to motivate this team. He printed out signs and put them on the seats on the plane out to Michigan State last week that just said, "Are you a one-hit wonder?" after that big upset win over Penn State.
Well, the funniest thing to me, though, were the examples that he used. With Vanilla Ice and Ice Ice Baby and Sir Mix-a-Lot with Baby Got Back, both songs that came out before you were born. Then he's used Milli Vanilli, a little confusing. They're kind of a no-hit wonder.
Rolled out, passes complete. That's Rico Flores. He's got the first down, and the Bruins keep the drive going after a 10-yard pickup.
Yeah, and one of the things that Jerry Neuheisel has talked about, and working with Noel Mazzoni, who he played quarterback for in this offense, is just finding a way to take advantage of space and to help create space for the wide receivers in the pass game.
Berger with just 1 yard. And back to that one-hit wonder thing, right after the game against Penn State, Sunday the next day, Tim Skipper said he played a slideshow with all those songs that you just listed and said to his guys, anybody know what these have in common? And no one, it was quiet, silent, nobody knew. And he said, they're all one-hit wonders. Are you?
And then having those songs playing, the one-hit wonders playing throughout the facility. I asked them if they had Safety Dance, but they didn't have Safety Dance. I was a little disappointed. It's probably my favorite one-hit wonder of all time.
Spoiler alert, they were not one-hit wonders. Backed it up with a big win over Michigan State. That is incomplete. He was looking for Mokiao Malala over the middle, and it was Jalen Husky, who already has an interception today, was able to break up the pass.
Well, I love this play from Jalen Husky, and it's really timing this thing up perfectly. Of course, he has the interception already in the game, and just seeing quarterback separate, getting ready to make that throw, puts that back foot in the ground, breaks on the ball, but doesn't get there too early for the interference. Textbook defense.
A transfer from Bowling Green, where he was first-team All-MAC a couple years ago. It's been great for Maryland. Iamaleava zips it near side. Mokiao Malala, after not hauling in the last one, does reel this one in for 6 yards.
And that's what you're going to give up. If you're the Maryland defense, you're going to give up those underneath throws. And this is something that Ted Monachino, the defensive coordinator, talked about. You just can't afford to have man eyes underneath. But, of course, in that situation, you need third down and long. You're going to give that underneath stuff up. But they're going to be able to find some voids in those zones underneath. More than happy to give that up rather than the long ones.
Absolutely. Bruins did pick up one first down that drive, but it ends up stalling out, and Will Carroll's out there for the 5th time today to punt it away. Jalil Farouk lets it fly over its head and just snuck inside the pylon. I mean, about a foot away from having them at the 1, but it is a touchback. We've got a good one here in Pasadena, 7-3 UCLA.
Tomorrow, a Fox NFL doubleheader starts with Saquon and the Eagles taking on the Vikings, or other regional action. Then, in America's Game of the Week, Jaden Daniels and the Commanders battle Dak and the Cowboys, or Packers and Cardinals. Check local listings for the games in your area, only on Fox.
Your Vikings might be getting the Eagles at the right time. A couple losses in a row. Blake Washington quick on a screen pass. It's reeled in by Dwan Williams, who gets upended near the 40, but it's a first down on a big play to start the drive. 19 yards.
And it's our guy, Key Lawrence, that we had interviewed. Taking a bit of a bad angle here. You can't just push a guy. Nice run there from Dwan Williams. But that's a play where Kevin Coyle, the defensive coordinator, he had the right guys, or at least the right scheme dialed up. Guys got to show up and make plays.
Washington snaps it over the middle. It's caught. Shalik Knotts with the reception, 6 more yards. A couple quick pass plays here to get Malik Washington going.
Yeah, get him going. And Pep Hamilton, the offensive coordinator, long history with this staff.
To give this time to Ray, trying to bounce outside. He got swallowed up at the line of scrimmage. Taupaki with the stop, the 7th-year player from East Oakland, California.
And what I was trying to say, long history with Mike Loxley, really went back a while. But what I love, what Pep's doing with this young quarterback, Malik Washington, he's really made him patient and helping him understand you never go broke taking a profit, taking some of those easy underneath throws. But here, third down, give him the freedom to get his guys into position, make sure he has the right play dialed up, man-to-man up top.
Washington looking left instead, off his back foot, floats it down the sideline, and now Maryland is just one of its last 7 on third down. Punt unit coming on the field for the Terrapins.
Credit again to this defensive staff at UCLA, just letting them dink and dunk early downs, showing pressure looks, and then backing out of it and playing coverage and really confusing Malik Washington, just giving him nowhere to go with the ball. His legs are going to have to be a factor if they want to move the ball consistently.
Haven't been able to do that today. Forces another punt. A fair catch called for at the 15, which is where the Bruins will start their next drive. Gorgeous night here in Southern California. Today's game is sponsored by Graduate by Hilton. Spirited stays in your favorite college towns. Big Ten football to a T. We've got a defensive battle, 7-3. UCLA leads Maryland. Let's go back in the Wayback Machine. Black and white footage for the last and only time they played here in LA. It was a close one. Two ranked teams fought to the very, very end of that one, but it's the first time in 70 years they've played each other, and UCLA, that 1954 team, won their only title in program history. One of their wins coming against Maryland.
Awesome footage right there. So cool to see that. And such a storied program in this place. First time calling a game here. It's as advertised.
Iamaleava over the top of his intended target. Might have been deflected at the line.
Let's see Frias coming into the game here. Of course, he had the long touchdown run earlier in the game. Look, they're in the wrong personnel, or they're trying to get the play call in. It was interesting listening to Jerry Neuheisel. I asked him, what was the biggest adjustment or biggest surprise? He's like, well, in practice, 15 seconds is over. You get another shot at it.
Iamaleava holds on to the football this time, trying to skate past the defender. Yeah, he had a couple miscues with hitting the button on time in week one against Penn State. Still took down the Nittany Lions, but he said, I've been better the last week or so since then.
It was funny. He said, I was so embarrassed. Like, the company's like offering to send like a new model, like the Jerry Neuheisel model, specially made for him. But just so cool. He's been preparing for this his whole life, working with his father, of course, Rick.
Iamaleava looking left the whole way. That is too low for the intended target, Frias, or rather Flores.
There it is again with that low miss. And it's almost like he's just holding back on some of those, you know, between the motion and the way that he kind of holds back on the throw. Like, he doesn't want to put too much on it. Like, he's trying to control the speed too much and ends up dirting it. They've been known to fake it.
Did once last week.
Couple times in the last few weeks.
No fake this time. 4th 3 and out, leads to the punt. Farouk at the 30, turns the corner. Great return, tripped up, stays on his feet, and then looked out. He got pummeled after a 19-yard return. Good field position for Farouk and Maryland next. Tomorrow on FS1, the fight for the American League crown continues as Cal Raleigh and the Mariners take on Vlad Jr. and the Blue Jays. Game 6 of the ALCS, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 Pacific, right here on FS1. Where the
winners... Did you tell me last night? You said it looks like a 7-game series, or 2 days ago.
It might be. Back and forth series, 3-2, going to Game 6. Winners get the Dodgers in the World Series after they swept the Brewers.
So motion to empty here. Watch Washington's legs.
Ooh, Washington throws. It's batted down at the line of scrimmage. Andre Jordan, the cornerback, comes in off the edge to bat it away.
And Kevin Coyle said that he had a blitz reel dialed up, some NFL blitzes, and talked about just how excited his defense was. We're like, oh yeah, that's going to work. And he said he's going to dial up some of those pressures, and Andre Jordan did the most important thing there, holding his water, and without a fake snap to kind of get a tell, he was able to get home.
Williams, the running back, on the screen pass, bouncing away from tacklers, and then he's stacked up at the 48 as Maryland goes into UCLA territory.
And they're going to be content, as we said earlier, to give up those underneath throws, especially on 1st and 2nd down here. You're up a short throw like that, you just react to those throws in the flat. don't take the cheese, as the defensive coaches like to say. You cover those flats too early, those deeper throws can happen. But here you are, 3rd and 6 now for the young freshman.
Can they avoid back-to-back 3-and-outs? Underneath, Williams is open, in space, down the sideline. Twisted, stays on his feet, and finally swung to the ground inside the 10. A 3rd down conversion of 42 yards.
Well, this is the price you pay. When you're going to bring that pressure, you're not going to have anybody to cover the back. An excellent job of design by offensive coordinator Pep Hamilton. He motions that lone receiver on the left side of the formation across the field, realizes he has man. UCLA brings the blitz up the A-gap, and Williams up the sideline free.
It's Williams, this time on the ground after the 42-yard reception. The last time Maryland had goal to go, they had a 1st and goal from the 2, unable to score it, had to settle for 3 points. Got to be able to capitalize in the red zone this time.
Yeah, and this is part of the reason Pep Hamilton, the offensive coordinator, had talked about their emphasis on the run, bigger personnel, tighter formations, running it when they want to. Any offensive coordinator will tell you, you get in the red zone, you want to at least have the ability to run the football consistently to get that thing in.
Washington looking to throw, back of the end zone, incomplete. He threw it a little bit behind Farouk, and that allowed Roderick Pleasant to make a play on the football.
Well, he threw that ball late and threw it behind him. Farouk's going to come open. You're going to see him come open inside near the goal post. We talked about the speed of Roderick Pleasant and the number of plays that he's made today. He's had some holding penalties. But Washington gets that ball in front of him. That's 6.
Third and goal. Washington rolling right, zips it to the sideline. It's caught, but 2 yards shy of the goal line by Dorian Fleming. Decision time now for the Terps.
I think, yep. The decision is to go for it. You feel confident in their defense, the way that they performed on that first series, that even if they aren't able to get this thing in the end zone, that their defense will be able to hold UCLA offense, maybe get good field position. But first things first, get a play dialed up here, try and give yourself an opportunity for a touchdown. Man-to-man on the bottom of the screen.
4th and goal from the 2. Washington flips it back of the end zone, and it's knocked away. Andre Jordan bats the football away on a 4th and goal to keep Maryland off the scoreboard.
You try and go with a little switch route with Dorian Fleming breaking free, but Andre Jordan rises up. Malik Washington a little short on that throw, and they miss out on 4th down.
Take a look at our All-State Good Hands moment, celebrating 20 years of All-State Good Hands Nets program, and it was the defensive stop that had Mike Loxley not happy with his offense.
But a great call defensively, and Kevin Coyle, the defensive coordinator, not his first rodeo, right? You play what's called a banjo coverage out there, and basically what you're doing is you're having the defensive backs switch responsibilities right where they need to be.
UCLA's defense got the stop on 4th and goal, so they are backed up against their own goal line, and Jalen Berger only gives them a couple more yards of wiggle room. Twice Maryland has had the football inside the 5 and have only come up with 3 total points out of it. A field goal the first time, a turnover on downs in the second, have not been able to punch it in for 6. Iamaleava fakes the handoff, pass is intercepted, it's a pick 6. Jamari Glasker puts Maryland in front.
teaching your players situational football, understanding where that break's going to happen. You don't get your eyes back to the inside until you confirm what route is being run. Gets his eyes back just in time. And Glasgow, what a game he had a week ago. 2 tackles for loss, had an interception in that one that was just kind of a gimme that was thrown up into the air. What a tremendous player, though. You know, he was beat on a touchdown a week ago against Nebraska, came back and had that interception. A physical player, but just smart football right there, taking the coach and believing what he sees. Gets paid off with 6.
That'll back up the point after try for Maryland.
False start. Kicking teams, number 46 and number 71. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay the try.
Man, on a night the offense has just not been able to find the end zone for Maryland, it's the defense that comes up with a massive play. Back-to-back weeks with an interception for Glasgow. This one's a pick 6, and the Terps go in front late in the 3rd quarter. Point after try is there, and Maryland extends the lead to a field goal after an 8-yard pick 6 for Glasgow, which is the 14th interception this season for Maryland. Their 4th pick 6. Both of those numbers lead the country.
That's just amazing what they've been able to do. Came into the game leading turnover margin, leading the nation in turnover margin, and you say, hey, man, offense, you don't want to score. That's all right. We got you, mate. That's 2nd week in a row with the pick 6. Dante Joyner had 1 week ago against Nebraska. That's some good coaching, though. You can just tell the guys, the way those guys are playing. Situational awareness. What do I expect out of this formation? But most importantly, not just guessing, confirming, and then getting the eyes back on the quarterback late, seeing that ball, say, this one's mine. I love the way Glasgow plays, too. I mean, he's physical out there at corner. And he had a penalty a week ago, and he comes back and he has a tackle for loss right away, then gets beat on a touchdown, comes back with an interception. Guy's just a player.
Frias on the return. He has a 55-yard rushing touchdown today, but he's ripped to the ground just across the 25. This has to be one of those moments for Nico Iamaleava that is quick memory. You just threw a pick 6. Maryland jumped in front, but you're right back on the field, and you got to forget about it.
Yeah, no question about it. That's what a quarterback always knows. The most important play is always the next one. And you just have to understand, you have to confirm coverage once the ball is snapped, because it's pretty clear both of these defensive coordinators are trying to change pictures after the snap.
It's a handoff to Berger, plows through that defense, and he picks up 6. Nico had 8 touchdowns, no picks the last 2 weeks. Wins over Penn State and Michigan State. Today, no touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and only 66 yards through the air. It's been a tough day.
Yeah, it certainly has. And you know what kind of mental makeup this guy has. And they brag about him, not just to brag about him. They know what kind of person he is. He knows he's going to be ready to come back.
Iamaleava lets it rip over the middle. It's pulled in. Mokiao Atimalala ripped out of bounds. Big play strike for UCLA.
That's what the great quarterbacks do when things seem to be falling apart all around you. Just rise up and make a play, and love that he hits Mokiao Atimalala in stride, allows him to make a nice gain after the catch.
34 yards through the air, longest pass play today for UCLA. Looking to quickly respond after the pick 6 by Maryland. Dumped out into the flat. Hudson Habermill was upended. Football came loose. Maryland says they have it.
I think the question here is going to be, did he have the ball long enough And that's Dante Joyner, who had the pick 6 a week ago. Reacts immediately. Catches the ball. Gets upfield. Oh, no, he's down.
Down.
Yeah, the forearm is down on the ground. Nice play there by Joyner. And that's Hudson Habermill, who had been out a year ago with the injury. It's pretty clear that forearm hits the ground before that ball comes out, and hate to see that. Habermill on the field in a lot of pain.
A 7th-year senior who has spent every year of his career here at UCLA. You said it, missed all of last season and come out to a really good start for his final year. Made his first catch of the day, but hate to see him down on the ground now.
And they're going to get him up off the ground. We're just one of those lifers, you know, those kind of guys that are around programs. And, you know, I love the story that they were telling earlier in the week about Habermill, and said that Jerry Neuheisel's wife said, hey, could you please make sure Jerry's eating? He's like, he knows he has a good relationship with him. You see him bending that thing and putting the pressure on it going off the field. And boy, it just nothing like the relationships that develop inside of a locker room when guys have been around in the program for a long time together, like you have Jerry Neuheisel and Hudson Habermill.
Well, Neuheisel, not only the acting offensive coordinator, but he's also Habermill's position coach. He was elevated to tight ends coach last year, still holds that role this year as well. Those two guys, as long as they've both been in the program, Neuheisel's 8th year, Habermill's 7th, they have gotten to be very close. Second and 11. Iamaliava to the near side. Pass is pulled in inside the 15. Mokiao Atimalala's second big catch of the drive. This one goes for 23.
All kinds of time for Nico Iamaliava, but I love that he's thrown with the anticipation and the accuracy.
10-yard penalty.
This one's going to be called back. Cortland Ford, the left tackle, with the hold. Erasing a great play. She's got Nasir Taylor, true freshman, rushing off of that left edge. When we talk about the youth of this Maryland defense, Tahir Mathis, true freshman who's out today, and Nasir Taylor in his place.
Frias tries to cut upfield, picks up a couple yards of that penalty yardage back after the second holding against Cortland Ford today. Wiped away what was a 23-yard completion.
But just drive killers, absolute drive killers when you have holding penalties like that. You know, spot foul, tackles normally back a yard or two, and this is where defensive coordinators, or excuse me, offensive coordinators earn their money. You talked about having this playbook that he was ready to install. There's not a lot in there for 3rd and 20, 3rd and 18.
Let's see what they got. Iamaliava climbing the pocket, nowhere to go, cannot escape. A swarm of white jerseys bring down Iamaliava. Sydney Stewart, the true freshman, hometown kid from Maryland, steps up in a big moment.
And Stewart is going to be the one that's spying Iamaliava the entire time. And Sam Yoon, the center, is going to try and get up on him. But because of that quickness with Sydney Stewart, you said it, partner, a true freshman, 6'2", 255 pounds. And guys like that are tough for offensive linemen to block in the open field because those guys can move so well laterally and just make linemen miss.
Farouk lets it fly over his head. It's a touchback. So close to A first down, having the football in the red zone on what you said it, a drive killer, a holding penalty, backed up UCLA. They had a 3rd and 18 that they couldn't convert, and it feels like a completely different situation now for Tim Skipper and his team.
Well, and the worst part about it wasn't just a negative play.
Yeah.
It took a first down away. A tremendous throw from Nico Iamaleava. He hit Mokiao Ati Malala in stride. Now the Terps have got the ball again.
First time Maryland has had the football while having the lead today. They keep it on the ground, and DeJuan Williams is stacked up right at the line of scrimmage. That's the one thing Maryland has not been good at this season at all, is running the football. They just cannot do it effectively in these first 7 games.
Well, I guarantee you, Pep Hamilton, he's going to keep going to that well. And one of the things that is the hallmark of these type of run games is you want things to look the same. So the success of the run game is by getting people just a little bit out of position. Saw that late motion that time, run up the middle. I think you'll see that action later again.
Play action, zips it outside. Octavian Smith Jr. bounced off the tackle, and he picked up just 1 yard. It's Roderick Pleasant, who we've been saying his name all night, making the play.
Yeah, we certainly have. And we talked again, defensive coordinator Kevin Coyle coming over and installing this new defense and, you know, kind of adding layers to it. And again, credit Tim Skipper as well. I mean, he's a defensive guy. That's his side of the ball. He's in there a few days a week on that defensive side, and I think he's having a little bit of fun trying to create new ways to confuse offenses.
Going to the 4th quarter, Maryland has the lead. Can they finish it this week? Tonight's game is sponsored by Graduate by Hilton. Spirited stays in your favorite college towns. We go to the 4th quarter in Pasadena, and Maryland fans are holding their breath because it's been all too familiar. Each of the last 2 weeks, Mike Loxley's team had 4th quarter leads that they could not finish, outscored 31-0 in the final quarter in those 2 games. Can they turn that trend around this week and get a Big Ten road win? Washington dumps it off. Williams out of the backfield, drags the defender with him down to the 28. And it is 4th down for the Terps.
We go with a little orbit motion there, trying to get a read on what the defense is doing, and confirmed what they thought. They had zone. Try to hit something underneath, but UCLA, once again, Kevin Coyle, the defensive coordinator, has done a tremendous job preparing these guys for those types of situations. Just come up, wrap up, make the stop.
The defense has been spectacular for UCLA. The only Maryland touchdown today came on a pick 6. The offense has not scored a touchdown, but the Bruins need their offense to spark something here. Nico Iamaleava has thrown 2 picks, no touchdowns, but Jerry Neuheisel's offense is still in this game in the 4th quarter with an opportunity to make it 3 straight wins.
Yeah, and I think even though you've been around the program for a while, you know, as a play caller, you kind of get a feel for what the strengths are of your guys. And quite frankly, I mean, play calling, it's as much highlighting your strengths as it is accounting for your weaknesses. This point in the game, it's about players, not plays, as Jerry Neuheisel says.
Iamaleava throws that off the helmet of the defender, and there is a flag thrown.
Yeah, Iamaleava was a little bit behind on that throw.
Defense number 27. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
It's Lakai Rowland in the coverage.
Pretty
Rico
obvious.
Flores, and the Oscar goes to Rico Flores. Clearly going to have an acting career when he's done playing football, but clearly a hold by Rowland, the young sophomore. He's had 2 interceptions on the season already.
We're in a good spot for an acting career, by the way. Berger Bouncing left side, cuts back upfield. He's got a first down. There is a flag. Stumbling down the sideline. He gets shoved out inside the 30, but again, a marker near midfield. It's a 34-yard run for the time being.
Oh, Jalen Berger. Looks like this one's going to be coming back, and that's a shame.
During the run, block in the back. Offense number 3. 10-yard penalty from the spot.
It didn't even look like Quasi was getting the block on the outside. Jalen Berger was this a little Nelly run. A little bit of and a little bit of this. Look at this nice little cut to the outside. Little bit of stiff arm.
He didn't touch him.
That's what when I watched the play initially, I had no idea what they were talking about. Like he never touched.
Oh my goodness.
And the official sees the player take a dive, and all he's reacting, or that official's reacting to seeing the player go on the ground and makes that call. That is, I mean, we've seen some bad calls.
Yeah.
That's it. I don't know that I've seen one worse than that.
That might be the worst call we've had in any of our games this year. Iamaleava steps up, uses the legs, picks up the first down anyways. Ball don't lie, as they say.
I love this. Watch Nico Iamaleava, Eugene Brooks, number 55, the left tackle. He's going to start the convoy upfield, and Iamaleava's like, that's all right, man, I got this. Watch, he sticks the left hand on his hip, said, no, go ahead, just get out of the way, let me run. And what I love about Iamaleava, for a guy 6'6", he does a great job of really controlling his stride length, because you're 6'6", man. You're taking some big strides, right? The problem with big strides is it's harder to get lateral movement. So he chops those feet, and he has good lateral movement, but that acceleration, just seeing it, taking off.
It's Bryce Jenkins, true freshman, one of many that Maryland plays, who's down on the ground, slow to get up after the 27-yard run by Nico Iamaleava. UCLA has had 2 plays in back-to-back drives, a 34-yard play and a 23-yard play that were called back by penalties, but Iamaleava on the very next play after one of them was wiped away just ran for 27 yards, and he's into Maryland territory with a first down.
Now, running quarterbacks can make any defense look bad. You can have everybody in the right position with a guy like Iamaleava. Not just the ability to run, but for a big guy, the ability to cut and make people miss.
Fakes the handoff. Iamaleava hit as he throws. Looked like his arm was going back, and Maryland's got the football. The spectacular freshman Sidney Stewart got his hand on there on the throw, and D.D. Holmes has the recovery.
You called it, partner. Sidney Stewart, saw him making plays earlier. See what the call is here.
Timeout on the field.
They're going to take a look at it and see if that arm's coming forward, but you can see Stewart just fighting his way.
Oh, ball's going back, right?
It looks, it looks like it's an empty hand that comes forward. And I know that there's somebody in a really sharp suit, a rules expert. They have an expert opinion, but it looks like Nico, that arm comes forward with an empty hand because...
The ruling on the field was fumble recovery defense. That ruling is under further review.
And it's under further review, but it looks like Stewart gets that hand on Iamaleava's arm, and Nico's hand comes forward without the ball.
Well, Mike, can you give us some analysis that's as sharp as your suit?
Well, it's not a block in the back, I will say that, but it is an empty hand. You look at that and say, okay, you see the elbow start to go, which is nothing. It's the hand, and to me, the ball pops straight up in the air. And it is close, but what do we do here in these situations? What was called on the field ruled a fumble. To me, there's no way that you can overturn this.
Calls upheld. What's your favorite one-hit wonder, Mike?
On the spot.
It's probably Vanilla Ice.
Yeah. That's mine, Ice Ice Baby. That was one of the few songs that Coach listed off yesterday that I actually knew.
But you weren't alive. That's a terrible insult. You're so young, Noah. Zing!
Oh, Stewart, a true freshman, swipes the ball away, and then Holmes, the redshirt freshman, recovered it.
The ruling on the field of fumble recovery defense is upheld. First down, Maryland.
Just as Mike said, just as you said, Robert, it looked like, especially with the call on the field being fumble, that would be upheld.
Yeah, but I think when you come forward with an empty hand like that, that's kind of the definition of a fumble, and certainly nothing on the replay to say otherwise.
Turnovers have been killer for Tim Skipper's team. After none in the previous 3 weeks, that is now their third of this game. 2 of them in the second half.
The UCLA fans are like, yeah, you guys got that call right. What about the block in the back?
Keep it on the ground with Nolan Ray. This drive starting in UCLA territory.
And this is where you want that run game. And again, we talk about the history of Pep Hamilton and kind of the offenses that he's been around. You know, you talk about Stanford, and you mentioned it earlier, partner. You know, all those tight ends that ended up playing in the National Football League, like going those big personnel groupings to kind of create some mismatches, but then get the change-up looks with 3-by-1 formations like this.
Washington zips it over the middle, and it was broken up. Roderick Pleasant again. How many times can you say his name in one game?
Well, I actually like what Malik Washington did right there, though, because there was a danger. John Vaughns saw that play the whole way, would have been able to knock that thing down. Washington hung on to it, almost fit that throw in. But none of that really matters if they can't convert here on third down. UCLA, a little bit of confusion.
3rd and 8. Off his back foot, floats it into double coverage, incomplete. Wanted Shalik Knotts. Key Lawrence was there on the back end for UCLA.
Watch Key Lawrence before the snap here, though. You know, we talk about this being a new defense, and Key Lawrence walks up towards the line of scrimmage, and he's helping his man out here on the edge. Like, you got that guy, Jalen. You got him right there. That's communication in its finest form. Just walk right up and tell the guy. We see it so much offensively with quarterbacks walking up to the line of scrimmage.
6th 3 and out for Maryland. Mikey Matthews calls for the fair catch at the 10, and the Bruins do not allow the turnover to hurt them. They've got the ball back, down 3 early 4th quarter.
And it's an oasis.
Mike Loxley in Maryland, Tim Skipper and UCLA in a battle. Early 4th quarter, 3-point game, and especially on the Maryland side, Robert, they are trying to close out a 4th quarter after giving up 2 4th quarter leads in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, and that's football, man. You know, you can do so many things right throughout the course of a game, and so many times, you know, 6 to 8 plays usually are the difference in the game, and if you knew which ones they were before the game, it'd be easy, but execution becomes so important.
This is Berger with a patient run, hopping behind that line. He gets just a yard, maybe, no gain. 5 drives for UCLA, 3 punts, an interception, which was a pick 6, and a fumble. They have not been able to get anything going after halftime.
Looks like we got a player down for Maryland. It's for Daniel Wingate, their linebacker.
Not that you want to see anybody down, but if you're a Maryland fan, your leading tackler, second most tackles in the Big Ten as well, and he's been in on play after play for Mike Loxley's team tonight.
Yeah, that's something that Mike Loxley talked about earlier in the week and reiterated with us that wanted to take some reps off of those frontline linebackers, rotating some of those younger guys like Michael Harris and Keyshawn Flowers in. Not exactly sure what happened to Daniel Wingate there, but it's a violent game. We know that. We could see Wingate walking off under his own power, but certainly not putting all the weight on his left foot, it looks like. But the benefit of rotating guys in, next up mentality, it's more than just a saying. You start rotating those younger players in, and they start building up some rep experience, especially late in these games. You have fresher players and more experienced players that you can plug in and know what they're doing.
For those of you wanting the Nevada-New Mexico game, that's available on FS2. We'll get you out to Albuquerque as soon as this one finishes. But we've got a great 11:35 to go. Iamaleava connects with Hudson Habermill. Great to see him back on the field after he went out 2 drives ago with an injury.
Well, you called it, partner. They were taking a look at that left leg. It's always scary when the doctors come out and they're testing the knee. You never know what happened. It's so good to see a guy like that that's just been through so much as a Bruin to be back in the game.
Fake the handoff to Berger. Iamaleava hit as he throws, completes the pass. It's a first down for UCLA, down to the 35 for Quasi Gilmer.
Boy, the number of times we've talked about the inaccurate throws from Iamaleava tonight. With this throw on the move, knowing that he's going to be taking a hit from Jalen Husky, and he just delivers an absolute dime just over the outstretched arms. It's been Sidney Stewart again. Nice job layering that throw.
Iamaleava floats it into one-on-one coverage on the sideline, incomplete. He had Gilmer for 17 yards last time, but this one falls incomplete.
But close on this one, and it's Jamari Glasgow on the coverage. A little bit of hand fighting there. Gets his eyes back just in time. Looked like Glasgow may have had just one last reach with that hand. And talk about fundamentals and what you teach these defensive backs. So important. Never give up on plays, and always remember, as wide receivers, they need those hands to make the catch. And if you keep messing with their arms and their hands, you got a chance to knock it away.
Iamaleava into a tight window, completes the pass. Mokiao Ati-Malala into Maryland territory for a first down.
Look at the strong hands here from Mokiao Ati-Malala, because it's going to be number 2 on the defensive side, Braden Lee, that's going to try and knock this thing away. You get a better look at it here. Watch how he squeezes those hands, even with Lee trying to separate his arms.
False start. Offense number 64. 5-yard penalty, first down.
Eighth penalty today for UCLA, 6 of them on the offense. First and 15. Frias, straight up the middle, it gets all of the penalty yardage back, and it brings up 2nd and 10.
Boy, nothing fancy again. Jerry Neuheisel, the offensive coordinator, in our conversations with him, he's talked about the improvement in the run game and really not trying to get complicated, knowing your personnel and doing what we do best and not trying to force guys into plays that don't utilize the best of their skills. Very good at duo, and that's what they run again.
Under pressure, Iamaleava spun down inside the 40. Great usage of the legs to pick up 7 and make this third down a lot more manageable.
And it's the clock in the head, too, that you like, and that's training. It's understanding when you need to get out of there. Okay, 100, 200, 300. Okay, I'm about to get smoked back here. I need to get my tail up out of the pocket. Iamaleava, for a tall guy, he's got tremendous acceleration.
Give to Berger. Stood up after just a 1-yard pickup. It is 4th down. And the offense staying put right now for the Bruins until now.
Fans not too happy about it. Of course, we know that they've been running a lot of fakes. Oh, it's a
field goal attempts.
Wow, that's a long one.
Bagani's season long is 54. This would be a 56-yarder. They trotted him out in the first half for a 55-yarder, but a penalty backed him up. They decided to punt instead. 56-yarder to tie it. Bagani drives it, and he just missed it. Wide to the left, and Maryland stays in front by 3 with just over 7.5 to play in the Rose Bowl.
Boy, and the fans in the end zone had me fooled. I thought this kick was good. Late pull to the left. Terps ball when we get back.
Look around the Big Ten this week with 25th ranked Nebraska going down to Minnesota last night 24-6. A lot of buzz around Washington. Should they not have been top 25? They lose by 17 to Michigan, and Ohio State and Indiana both remain unbeaten with dominant wins over Wisconsin and Michigan State respectively. Your Buckeyes looking good, Robert.
My Buckeyes?
Yeah, your Buckeyes. You want me to say your Wolverines or something?
How dare you? Tell that story in a second.
Handoff, this is Williams, bounces right side. Best run play of the night. Williams is into UCLA territory, and the Terps have something rolling.
Used to tell the linemen all the time, don't worry about position blocking people. That's the importance sometimes of different units having the opportunity to meet together, because they get an idea like, okay, well, I got to block this side because the play is designed to go here. Just get a hat on a hat. You get some flat backs, they get an opportunity to bounce that, and they go with that turbo huddle again.
With the pace, they give it to Williams once again after the 13-yard run. He has 3 more.
And this is an excellent, the decision by Pep Hamilton to use that kind of huddle against a defense that he understands, because they're installing a new defense and they're not necessarily sure how to react to certain formations. Just sprinkling in enough of those types of plays, you can see the confusion on the UCLA defense when he does that.
Washington stands in the pocket, and it goes right through the hands of Jalil Farouk.
And Malik Washington did everything that he was supposed to do. And here in the baseball playoffs, appropriate pitch selection was correct by Malik Washington. Really took a little bit off that one for Farouk, and Farouk just doesn't do his part of the job.
Big moment for the UCLA defense, trying to get a 3rd down stop. Washington scans, back foot, pass caught, and it's well short, about 4 yards shy of the marker for A.J. Szymanski, the tight end, making his first catch tonight.
Yeah, and Cole Martin doing his job. What do I expect out of certain formations? How are these routes going to unfold? And he sees Szymanski coming into that flat, and he's ready to make that stop. Such a good open field tackler. He's one of those juice guys, man. You can just tell in practice. See him jumping around, running across the field, juking coaches, just having a blast.
Another punt for McPherson. Maryland trying to flip field position here, but they can't. That's a touchback. Bruins offense taking over next. Down 3, 5:40 to go. Kind of moment you dream of if you're a quarterback. Nico Iamaleava with 5:40 to go. His team down 3 with the football, trying to put together a potential game-winning drive. Maryland's defense, meanwhile, has blown 2 fourth-quarter leads in each of the last 2 weeks, but they've got an opportunity here to finish on the road and win a Big Ten game against UCLA.
Doesn't get any better than this at the Rose Bowl, baby.
Iamaleava, quick pass on the slant. It's caught. It's a first down. Mikey Matthews swung to the ground after 14 yards, and that's a great opening play of the drive for UCLA.
This is the way you prepare your quarterbacks. Expect the blitz, and what do? When you see the blitz? You throw into it. There's going to be a void.
Up tempo, Iamaleava floating it into one-on-one coverage for Matthews again. Couldn't pull it in, but there is a flag. Dante Joyner had the coverage.
Yeah, Joyner just can't locate that football, and we see so many times.
Pass interference, defense number 6. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
So many times when a defensive back is in this position, quarterback, bit of an underthrow, bit to the inside, and woo! I don't know if that's a makeup call.
That might be.
I mean, another acting job. We got 2 Oscars being handed out for some performances tonight.
Just outside of midfield, Iamaleava launching it near sideline too far. Wanted Quasi Gilmore, instead it's 2nd and 10.
Yeah, and one of the things that you see with Nico sometimes is he doesn't give himself enough space. You feel that pressure, and sometimes, I mean, that's why quarterback is just so difficult. Sometimes you need to step up a little bit. Sometimes you need to step back a little bit to give yourself an opportunity to step in the throw so you don't have those overthrows.
Iamaleava, incomplete. Just over the top of Rico Flores, who got his hands on it, but back-to-back incompletions makes it 3rd and 10.
Tight window throw, but it's what the quarterback's got to be able to do. Consistently make that throw, and he makes Rico go up for that one. And we said earlier, Rico's 6'2". I think he needed to be 6'5" to make that catch.
Third and 10. Iamaleava. Oh, that's almost intercepted. Messiah Delhomme applied the hit on Iamaleava.
Delhomme had the interception last week. This time they bring him blitz off of the edge, and that's the kind of confidence Ted Monachino has in the true freshman out of Newport News, Virginia. Guy's got some versatility.
It's Dante Joyner, who's been so good for Maryland. One of their starting cornerbacks limping off the field.
Yeah, you hope that's just a cramp. I want to speculate, but a lot of times when you see guys walking like that, sometimes it can be a cramp. And get them some fluids, get them back in there. And I'm sure Jerry Neuheisel, the offense, well, the play caller, gets in Nico's ear and says, might have a new player out there on the corner. Might be a good time to attack. We get some man-to-man coverage.
4th and 10, offense stays on the field. Iamaleava scans, fires a dart over the middle. Ooh. It's caught for a first down, but then a crushing hit applied by Jalen Husky on Quasi Gilmer. Flag thrown 2.
Yeah, of course, thinking this is going to be targeting defenseless player, hit to the head and neck area, and Husky.
Personal foul targeting defense number 22. 15-yard penalty. The play is under further review.
Boy, you can see Husky needing the help to get off the field as well. And it might not have been a good idea to get him back into the game. But of course, with a targeting call, he's going to be out for the rest of this game in the first half next week against Indiana. And with a defenseless player, any hit to the head or neck area, and tougher to see from that angle. Coming in here pretty clear, and that's helmet to helmet. And that's why it's just so dangerous, and why they try and get those hits out of the game. You can see the reaction of Husky as he goes to the ground here. Helmet to helmet like that is just so dangerous, and he lowers the head too. We've seen players like Ryan Shazier, Pittsburgh Steelers, unfortunate accident years ago.
After reviewing the play, the targeting on defender number 22 is upheld. The 15-yard penalty be added to the end of the run. Number 22 is disqualified from the remainder of the contest.
So that's the second player Maryland's lost to targeting today. Trey Reddick first, now Jalen Husky. They've been without Zaire Mathis all game.
And I know everybody wants to take defenders' side in that discussion about targeting, and is it too onerous, too harsh a penalty to have players kicked out of the game? But we know it's a violent sport. It's not a contact sport. Basketball's a contact sport. It's a collision sport. But you're literally talking life and death with some of those hits.
In the red zone, it's a handoff to Berger, and he just got tripped up at the ankles by Levan Scruggs.
But I love the way that Jalen Berger is running tonight, setting up his blocks very well and making just those extra cuts for those crucial red zone yards.
They give him one more touch, and he got drilled backwards, but a second push gives him 2 yards. Great second effort there to pick up something ahead of this third down.
Run game's been so effective today, and what we have not seen a lot of is Nico Iamaleava using his legs. We've seen it a few times tonight, and this was something that Jerry Neuheisel, the new play caller, wanted to change. He didn't want him to be the leading rusher, but in situations like this, his legs could be the difference.
Iamaleava looking to throw, zips it to the end zone. Touchdown, Mikey Matthews. UCLA goes in front with 3:33 to play on the passing touchdown.
And Messiah Delome's going to be in coverage. Nothing fancy here. Mikey Matthews, just a little over route, and it's really tough for defenders playing man-to-man to cover all the way across the field like that with the speed advantage that Matthews has. We've seen Nico Iamaleava struggle with his accuracy tonight, but not when it mattered most, right there.
A 14-yard strike to Mikey Matthews, and an 8-play drive that takes just over 2 minutes off the clock to put UCLA in front.
Yeah, nothing fancy there again. This is one of those kind of plays where Jerry Neuheisel, play caller, we're probably going to get man-to-man in this situation. They're going to want to bring pressure, but every time you bring pressure, you leave your players exposed on the back end. Football's always another numbers game, The numbers you commit to pressure are the numbers that you don't have in coverage. And when you have man-to-man like that and try and cover a guy all the way across the field, have a quarterback like Nico Iamaleava choose the guy that wins. The guy that won was Mikey Matthews.
An unfortunate feeling of been there, done that for Maryland fans who are sitting at home. They blew fourth quarter leads in back-to-back weeks against Washington and Nebraska leading into this week. Had a fourth quarter lead, but with 3:33 to go, down 4. Trying to avoid a third straight game where they lost when leading in the fourth quarter. Outscored 38-0 in the fourth quarter over the course of those 3 games.
Well, but I love what I just saw. Mike Locksley, he walked over to his quarterback, Malik Washington. You can see him giving that speech. Been watching you since the 8th grade. Go do what I know you can do.
Iverson Howard at the goal line on the return. And he gets stopped shy of the 15. Great coverage on the kick return by UCLA.
Nothing like the game of football, man. Play in these hostile environments. To me, there's nothing like winning on the road in a hostile environment. And if you're Malik Washington, true freshman quarterback, we talked about how calm and how different everybody says that he is. Now you got to have some of your players make some plays. Some people have got to get open. And that run game has got to be some balance.
Screen pass, Octavian Smith with a block from one of his receivers is swung to the ground across the 20 by Key Lawrence.
A nice call from Pep Hamilton early in this drive. Just give your quarterback a nice, easy completion to the outside, get into the rhythm. Let him realize this is the exact same thing that you've been doing since you arrived. And we'll talk about this in a second.
Drops it off behind the receiver. It's picked off. Through the hands of Caleb Webb. Picked off by Scooter Jackson.
And we've seen the problems with Malik Washington and his accuracy tonight. In front of receivers, behind receivers. Not all interceptions are created equally. This time, it's the pass that's thrown behind Caleb Webb. Gets tipped into the air that causes the interception. See, he's just a little behind on this throw, but that's just enough. Webb can't get both hands on it. Right place, right time for Scooter Jackson.
Maryland had just 3 giveaways all season. They've turned it over twice tonight. This game is far from over, though. All 3 timeouts for Maryland and the 2-minute timeout. Berger is drilled right at the line of scrimmage. Scooter Jackson's first interception of the season in a massive moment just inside of 3 minutes to play, with his team looking for their 3rd straight win after an 0-4 start and a coaching change. UCLA has been one of the really fun stories of college football over the last 3 weeks. Looks like a false start.
False start. Offense number 72. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
Well, maybe not a drive killer, but you change things. Good thing all the way down to 2:18. Those 3 timeouts be the difference. Probably gonna have to burn one of those. Only being 2nd down. So they can still try a field goal, go up 7.
Iamaleava throws, passes caught. That's Flores. Stays in bounds, but no pickup. Great job by Maryland's defense. who then uses a timeout with 2:10 to go in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, there it is. You get that timeout. You don't want to burn all those for your offense because you know you're going to need a touchdown, whether it's a 4-point lead or a 7-point lead. If it's 7, if it's a field goal that's made.
Did add 2 more seconds onto the clock, so 2:12 to go, 3rd and 14. 2 timeouts for Maryland plus the 2-minute timeout.
You won't need to use another one of those. It was a good call using that one. It's after 4th down. Go down to the 2-minute timeout, saving yourself 12 seconds. Not really that much of a difference, especially not at the cost of a timeout when you know you're going to need a touchdown. Do you try a double move here?
We'll find out.
Hey, you got all those years with the playbook, all the special calls, and you think, man, double move would really get him here.
They are going to throw. Iamaleava throws it into the ground. Sidney Stewart came in off the backside, and that's Nico Iamaleava, who is really slow to get up, holding on to that knee.
And boy, that knee got driven directly into the turf. In a lot of pain down there. And Stewart, we've called his name many times tonight. Just a true freshman. And that closing speed that he has. Nico's knee gets driven into the ground.
That was Nico's brother, Madden Iamaleava, looking on with Nico on the ground.
But I know all of the stories out there, and a lot of Tennessee fans don't have any good things to say about Nico Iamaleava, and to a person on this staff when they talk about Nico Iamaleava and just talk about what a great person he is. And even to us, we show up at practice yesterday and Nico's walking off the field and stops to say hello. Where are you guys from? I mean, not with that accent, but great to see him get up here.
Such a great kid. Having to be helped off the field. Luke Duncan was taking some warm-up throws. A redshirt sophomore who made his debut last week has not recorded an official stat in his career. Did not play at all in 2023. Did not play last year.
I just hate to see that. Really able to put a lot of weight on that.
Mateen Begani on to attempt a field goal to make this a 7-point lead. It's a 42-yarder. Just missed from 56 a little earlier tonight. Good snap and hold. Begani's kick on the way. He drives it straight through the middle to give UCLA a touchdown lead with 2:04 to go. A fist pump from Tim Skipper, the interim head man for UCLA, trying to lead the Bruins to a 3rd consecutive win.
And some people may say, why even go 4 to 7 when maybe you could even do a little pooch to pin them? The answer is touchdown isn't worth 7 points. It's worth 6.
Great point.
Got to make that extra point.
2:04. Mike Loxley's team has 2 timeouts plus the 2-minute timeout. And a 19-year-old true freshman, Malik Washington, who is one of, if not the front runner for Big Ten Freshman of the Year. And he's going to have a big opportunity for a clutch moment.
It was the errant pass to Scooter Jackson, straight out of Compton. Curtis Jackson is Ice Cube's real name, right? You should know that.
I leave it to you for that.
Okay.
Touchback is great news for Maryland there. Without the return, no time comes off the clock, so they still have 2 timeouts and the 2-minute timeout for the true freshman Malik Washington, trying to avoid a 3rd consecutive loss after a 4-0 start this season.
We got 1 drive starter. We have just a little bit less than 2 minutes when the actual 2-minute timeout occurs. What a difference that is for college football now, right?
Yep.
Clock management becomes much different.
College football is the best, man. Here we go. 2:04 to go. 1 touchdown game. Maryland with the football.
Washington's legs.
Washington's legs. There you go. Takes off. And he's got the first down. 1:57 on the clock. That brings us to the 2-minute timeout, but a great start to this drive for Malik Washington and Maryland.
There it is. California knows how to party. But it's Maryland with the ball and an opportunity to tie it up on this drive.
.157 to play in Pasadena from the Rose Bowl, with UCLA on top of Maryland by 7. But the Terrapins have the football, 64 yards from a touchdown and an opportunity to tie this game up.
Or go for 2 and win it.
That too. You having fun yet?
Oh, this is unbelievable. You know, we were so excited when we found out we'd have an opportunity, both of us. First time calling a game here at the Rose Bowl. Unbelievable environment in a game like this, and kind of what this team's gone through the last couple of weeks, in an exciting young Maryland team. This is as good as it gets.
2 timeouts left. Malik Washington, the true freshman quarterback, floats it over the top. That's Williams. He gets punished out of bounds. 9 yards.
What a nice gain, more importantly. Stopping that clock without burning the timeouts. Time, I wouldn't say it's not a factor, but you got plenty of time with 2 timeouts in a minute 52. Middle of the field open to you with those 2 timeouts and the amount of time left. Of course, you've got to get this thing into the end zone.
Empty backfield. Washington, time, zips it to the sideline, incomplete. Wanted Shalik Knotts. Roderick Pleasant was once again there with the coverage for UCLA.
We've seen Roderick Pleasant in coverage so many times tonight. And what we've also seen, Kevin Coyle, the defensive coordinator, he's dialed up these pressure looks, but it's been simulated pressure much of the time, which is line everybody up, those double-A mugs, linebackers in there, and then they drop out in coverage and take away passing options.
3rd down, Williams straight up the middle has the first down, which will momentarily stop the clock, and it's a fresh set of downs for the Terrapins with 1:40 to go.
And of course, you don't want to burn the timeouts yet.
Washington staring left to the sideline, reeled in, short pickup for Octavian Smith Jr. Only 5 seconds come off the clock on that play, but they ruled him out of bounds, said he didn't get his foot in. It's incomplete.
Yeah, and make no mistake about it, UCLA defensively, they're going to have a structure that's going to allow, especially outside of the red zone here, they're going to keep allowing those type of underneath throws. You're going to have to start dialing up some plays if you're going to get the ball a little bit further downfield. Part of the cat and mouse game.
Washington fakes, takes off, scampers away from a tackle. He's got a first down with a block in front. Washington down the sideline. He stepped out of bounds at the 23. A phenomenal block from DeJuan Williams sparks that play.
And Pep Hamilton said it best. You can't always manufacture explosive plays, but when you get people blocking downfield, whether it's a wide receiver or, as you have in this case, DeJuan Williams laying the wood on Cole Martin, pushing him out of his quarterback's way. Completely different situation now. Maryland just on the fringe of the red zone.
28-yard pickup by the quarterback. Ball is at the 23. And with 1:24 to go in the fourth quarter, UCLA takes its first timeout.
UCLA, their first of the half. It will be 30 seconds in length.
I mean, what a block by your running back there.
Well, we've said this before, Noah. You know, running backs, come on. They're the smartest guys on the team. They're the best looking guys on the team. They're the most humble guys on the team. Most physical guys on the team. No,
anything else?
Well, you name it. Anything good, they're the best at. No, that's the way you teach your guys, though, right there. Like, it's not just about you. That's why it's the ultimate team sport, man. You know, for one guy to succeed, 10 other guys got to be taking care of their job. And to truly be successful and to do something a little special, like those explosive type plays, again, take some downfield blocking.
1:24 to play, first down from the 23. Washington fires towards the goal line, incomplete, no flag. Andre Jordan, the coverage on Shalik Knox.
Boy, and Andre Jordan, he wasn't too sure. He was looking around for flags, too. They're going to get physical here on the outside. Shalik Knox, you know, they both get their eyes back. And a little bit of hand fighting both ways. And you can see most could have thrown a flag on Knotts. I mean, he actually got his arms, pulled Andrew Jordan away from there.
Washington lets it rip, crossed his body. Dorian Fleming's got it. And a nice open field tackle after a short pickup by Key Lawrence. Clock winding.
Still plenty of time. You've got 2 timeouts. This being third down. And we've seen Pep, short motion.
Washington rolls right, escaping the pocket, tucks it, now throws the last moment to Smith, and they say incomplete. Did not get his feet in, and there's a flag in the end zone.
I don't know if this is Key Lawrence or Scooter Jackson.
Holding, defense number 2.
Neither one. It's Andre Jordan.
Automatic first down.
Half the distance to the goal and a first down.
It's the wrong person. They called that on Andre Jordan. I don't think that was it. I think they called it on Scooter Jackson, or it should have been called on Scooter Jackson. He was the one right there as Knotts is trying to get back to the ball.
Washington looking, end zone back, corner, sliding play, touchdown, Jalil Farouk, an extra point away from tying the game with 40 seconds to go.
Players, not plays. And I love the placement on this football by Malik Washington. Only where my guy can get it. And that was pretty good coverage from Roderick Pleasant. Fastest guy on that defense. Definitely kept that off the ground. Jaleel Farouk had been in the doghouse a little bit. Pep Hamilton said he wanted to get him dialed up. Of course, Farouk was at Oklahoma with Key Lawrence, plays in the secondary for UCLA. All-important extra point with the kicker who missed a field goal earlier.
That one is right down the middle to tie this game at 17 with 40 seconds to go. The true freshman quarterback was sensational on that drive.
How about that? Mike Loxley. First saw Malik Washington when he was in the 8th grade. Pep Hamilton, the offensive coordinator who's known Mike Loxley since 1997. You were 2. They put it together. And you saw him talking to him on the side. That was just a great scene. He's like, I've known you since you were a little kid.
This is important right here. Nico Iamaleava, who went out with what was a knee injury last drive, is up, moving around, throwing the football. So you got to imagine the hope for UCLA fans. He's able to go. After Maryland's first offensive touchdown of the night comes with 40 seconds to go in regulation. Frias on the return just outside of the 10. Crosses the 25. So UCLA, 2 timeouts, 35 seconds to go. Mateen Bagani's season long is from 54 yards.
Well, you know, Maryland going to be given some space here. Got a couple safeties deep. Going to be playing soft on the outside. Keep everything in front of you.
Iamaleava stepping up in the pocket. Pass was deflected on the throw. Incomplete.
That's another one of those instances where Iamaleava have to understand when you need to slide or climb in the pocket. You can't afford to stare at defensive linemen or your offensive linemen. Just kind of get a feel for when you need to move just a little bit so that you don't get hit as you're throwing.
Iamaleava drops it off. Pass is caught. It's a first down. Mokiao Ati-Malala moves the chains for UCLA, and momentarily the clock will stop. And it looks like UCLA is taking a timeout.
Pagani's had a 54-yarder versus Penn State.
That would mean needing to get the football to about the plus 37. Which is about another 22 yards from where the football is at right now for UCLA at their own 41.
And this is the dilemma as a defensive coordinator, Ted Monachino. You want to play soft, somewhat soft, but you don't want to give up too much because those underneath throws can be really dangerous run after catch. And you've got a quarterback, even though he's banged up, still can do some damage with his legs.
Looks to throw, fires, far sideline, it's caught, first down. Back-to-back catches for Mokiao Ati-Malala into Maryland territory.
Big-time players make big-time plays at big-time moments in big-time games. Nico Iamaleava, we saw him limping off earlier after his knee goes into the ground. Mokiawati Malala. Another good catch. Gets out of bounds. A few more yards and they're in field goal range.
The give to Frias. Oh, he's got a lot of space. Frias across the 20. Still on his feet. At the 5, he's finally dragged down. Wow! Anthony Frias, big time run.
Frias, the big touchdown run early in the game. Another big run here. And it's the tackle breaking, the determination, covering up the football, working in the spin. He looked like a running back drill there. Kind of get all those pieces in. Doing it when it matters most. Unbelievable play, and I know Maryland fans are sick right now after what they've seen with comeback loss, up 20-0 against Washington. A couple of weeks ago, up against Nebraska late. Now UCLA with a chance to send Maryland all the way back across the country, feeling low.
An 0-4 start for UCLA. They made a coaching change. The interim man, Tim Skipper, said it's a completely different feeling around UCLA football now. Upset win over number 7 Penn State 2 weeks ago. Then a win last week on the road against Michigan State. And they are a field goal away with 4 seconds to go from making it 3 straight wins. 23-yard attempt for Mateen Begani, but first, Mike Loxley uses one of his 2 remaining timeouts.
Yeah, why not? UCLA kicker Begani on ice. He's got that thing on that right hash. He seems to have a natural draw. He missed a field goal earlier to the left. And he's on that right hash. Where I'm sure he's comfortable. But you never know. College hashes, they're just so wide. Not trying to jinx the guy. Just stating the facts here, Noah, that the college hashes, with as wide as they are, these kicks aren't always that straight.
23-yard attempt to win it for Mateen Begani. Good snap and hold. Here's the kick from 23. He got it! Walk-off winner, and UCLA has won 3 straight.
Hey, I hate to be wet blanket, but it seemed like there was time on that clock. They ran off, it seemed like they ran off a couple of seconds, and I wonder, I think that they're going to have people go to I think they're going to put a couple of seconds back on here. Maybe not. We'll see.
Well, both teams retreating to their respective sidelines.
It sure looked like they ran a couple of seconds off the clock. Now, 4 seconds, you would think, would be enough time. It looked like the game clock wasn't running right at the snap. You know, that other view, I mean, that ball's in the net. And there were a couple seconds left. They're going to take a look at it. And we know that they're looking at all the angles. This reminds me of that Texas Tech-Texas game. Remember that one?
Yes.
No, you don't. You were like 6. I'm just
always
kidding.
Remember it.
No, there was a throw out of bounds. It was a throw out of bounds late in that game. And
after reviewing the play, the field goal was good with 2 seconds left on the game clock. Please reset the game clock to 2 seconds.
So not just 1, but 2 seconds on the clock. Not over yet for Tim Skipper and company.
2 seconds. That's enough time for light to get here from the moon. You see Mike Loxley there on the sideline. I know those clock, and they were lowering the goalposts down to the field, I guess.
For the field
in
storm.
anticipation of a field storm. They don't want Bruins students to take down the goalposts and run 20 miles to campus.
Put this kick on the ground, Squib here.
Oh, yeah. You kick this ball straight to somebody that you know has no business returning a football, burning the time. As soon as it gets touched, clock starts, and then you have the lateral drill.
Picked up at the 9. They fake the pitch. This is Iverson Howard. Now throws it back, and a hit at the 10. This one's over. The feel-good story in college football continues. A third straight win for UCLA after an 0-4 start. And for Maryland, the exact opposite, a third straight loss after a 4-0 start.
We'll take another look at the field goal here. Right down the middle. But a tremendous performance. Nico Iamaleava, a true warrior. Just can't say enough good things about him. And a scary moment seeing him go down so hard on his knee and needing help to get off the field, but gets back, engineers a game-winning drive. Another huge play, Anthony Frias in that run game, and credit to this entire staff, Tim Skipper and Jerry Neuheisel, the new play caller, developing that run game.
Big thank you to our producer, Brad Weimer, our director, Dustin Denty, and the rest of our phenomenal Fox Sports crew. For Robert Smith, I'm Noah Reed saying so long from Pasadena. Now out to Albuquerque for New Mexico and Nevada. Dan Helly and Petros Papadakis.